Good morning. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Ooh, good morning, Pamela Barr. I will talk to you after this. Hi, Wisco Gal. Hi, Louise. Good morning. Hi, Sweet Potato. Good morning, everybody. So, we had another incident um, with American Airlines. We're going to look at that real quick. But I was in Watcher of Crazy's chat last night, and she did a premiere on this lady called JoJo Badass, who was saying that this man was stalking her. And it appears that this has been going on for 10 years. Not that he is stalking her, but she has been stalking him. And it was very eye opening to know how you can get people in your chat that comes in and they're saying they were trafficked, and this one is being stalking. They're trying to K her and all this stuff, only to realize that this woman had been Baker acted 28 times, and she has 18 aliases. I was like, damn. So, and she goes by the name, God knows she could have changed her name now on YouTube, but she started tagging me and Grumpy and all of us in all of these posts that she was doing and videos. And that's when I told her, don't tag me in any of this stuff because I wanted nothing to do with it. So it turns out that she has some serious issues. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Daddy's Disappointment. But just saying, again, if people are high sweet potato, if people are coming to you and they're asking you, and I'm going to put the link in the chat from Watch Your Crazy last night. If you guys want to go check it out for yourselves, you can. And I was also, so I was setting up my live and I saw that Bambi was live. Okay. So I was going in to say hello, but then I see that she's playing a video that really pissed me off. And she knows it pissed me off because I don't want to hear this shit. And it's supposed to be for awareness. No, it's not awareness. I don't want to hear it. I've heard it. We've all heard it. I don't want to keep hearing it. This is the video from Watch Your Crazy last night that gives you um a close look at JoJo Badass, whatever her name is. And this is coming from the guy, Dean Ryan, who she has been stalking. And he has documented all of this. So I was quite pissed and I sent her a message about it. No, I would not keep playing something that I know pisses her off. So again, I'm pissed. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're going to talk about the fire. It's called the Arkansas 21. I posted this on my community tab on March 5th. The fire happened March 5th, 1959, in Wrightsville, Arkansas. Now, I had so many comments about this one post. Well, I had comments on a lot of the posts I did on Black History, but this one, it seems that no one really knew about this, and that followed that was right after the Little Rock 9. Okay, so we're going to discuss that, but before I want to show you what happened in Denver, and then we're going to do an update on the woman that killed the pastor, and then we're going to go into the Arkansas 21. So let's just do this real quick. And this is quite scary. And to think that I'm planning my trip with my sister, and this is really. Hi, Christoph, fan always. Good morning. Jennifer, thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, here we go.
This morning, yet another dramatic scene at a U.S. airport.
Oh my gosh.
An American Airlines plane bursting into flames after landing in Denver. Passengers climbing onto the wing as smoke surrounded the plane.
It is a little disturbing to see almost maybe 50 or 70 people standing on that wing.
Alexandria Cullen shared this video after she says her mother escaped the burning plane. Passengers running through smoke and haze.
We saw probably a couple dozen people coming down the slide and running away. It was pretty scary.
This was a very thick black smoke. Even in all the times that I've been flying, I've never seen anything like that.
The Boeing 737 was headed to Dallas, but was diverted shortly after leaving Colorado Springs when the crew reported engine vibrations.
We just have a high engine vibration, so we are cruising slower than normal for American 10,006.
The plane touching down safely in Denver, but the engine caught fire as the plane was taxiing.
Mayday. Distance at Charlie 38, engine fire. 48 engine fire, copy.
All 172 passengers and 6 crew members evacuated. 12 passengers had to be taken to the hospital.
This was a situation involving a mechanical malfunction of the engine in flight. Fortunately, the crew did exactly the right thing and got the airplane on the ground.
A series of recent crashes in Washington, Philadelphia, and Toronto and other close calls have rattled air travelers. Ticket sales are down. Delta's CEO recently saying a renewed fear of flying has caused a lot of shock. But experts remind us flying is still one of the safest ways to get anywhere.
This actually shows you how well the system does work. Pilots are able to get the airplane on the ground. The fire department got the flames out as fast as they started.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Now, they employed the emergency chutes where people was coming down the chutes, and it's quite disturbing. But again, is this the one? Hold on. I wanted to show you. Let's take a look at this one real quick. I think this is the one.
Really terrifying moments on a Denver runway. A Dallas-bound American Airlines flight bursts into flames seconds after making an emergency landing there in Denver. Watch this.
We saw that. I wanted to see where they were coming down the chute. Maybe it's not that one. But anyway, it is quite safe to fly, and I'm not going to deny that. But all of this that's going on right now is scary as shit. It's scary. Good morning, Mari. Good morning, Aries. Good morning. It's really, really scary. So I said I was going to drive. And another one, they probably fired all the mechanics with experience that maintain the planes. Oh, speaking of which, I wanted to bring this up. A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to rehire federal workers they previously fired. This includes the probationary employees who were fired last month from a half dozen federal agencies. U.S. District Judge William Alsop ordered that Trump administration to reinstate employees at the Department of Veterans Affairs, Department of Agriculture, the Department of Defense, the Department of Energy, the Department of Interior, and the Department of Treasury. Now, yesterday, he fired damn near half of the Department of Education. So when this was ordered on Thursday, this did not include the Department of Education because this had just happened later that afternoon. So I'm sure that's going to be reversed as well. I am sure that's going to be reversed as well. This shit was getting out of hand. Hold on a second. Let me show you this video, and then we're going to get into the Arkansas.
Topping your news leader at 4.
Arkansas 69, really.
Today, it's been a little over 24 hours since Samantha Marion was taken into custody and charged in connection with the shooting death of Pastor Ricky Floyd. Today, the 42-year-old was in court for the very first time to be arraigned. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Alex Coleman.
And I'm Shay Simon in for April this afternoon. Today, she requested a public defender who, as WRAG's Jarita Patterson explains, could later ask the court to lower Marion's $100,000 bond.
And was looking down, entering.
She shot the pastor after after he threw her phone, drove away, then got stopped, got out of his car, and came at her aggressively.
Court Thursday before scooting down, completely out of view of our camera. Judge Taylor Batchelor called the 42-year-old up.
Miss Marion, good morning.
Where she was officially arraigned in connection to the shooting death of Pastor Ricky Floyd.
You're here charged with voluntary manslaughter. It carries between 8 and 30 years confinement should you be convicted of that offense. Do you understand your charges?
Marion, who you could see take a deep breath, barely over a whisper, said she understood. What prosecutors are trying to understand is what the court-appointed counsel, which Marion requested, will do moving forward, which could determine the prosecution's next move.
We don't really know what the defense is going to do, but the defense might very well argue for a reduction.
Your bond in this matter has been set by a judicial commissioner prior to me receiving the case at $100,000. $100,000 is your bond.
An amount District Attorney Steve Mulroy approves of.
We have no plans right now to move to increase the bail in this case.
Thursday, we also met the longtime prosecutor who will oversee this case if it goes to trial.
I've been in criminal law for, let's say, I started in 1983, so I guess that'd make me 42 years.
As things currently stand, Samantha Marion is being held on $100,000 bond, telling the court she was unsure if she or her family could actually pay that amount. So in lockup is where she remains. Reporting for your news leader inside the CJC, Jarita Patterson, WREG, News Channel 3.
And the coverage following the killing of Pastor Ricky Floyd continues. Coming up on the news at 5, an exclusive interview from Samantha's mother, who says her daughter opened fire out of fear.
And that's what
that
she
story
did.
And much more still to come.
Excuse me.
This morning, yet another dramatic scene at a U.S. airport.
It was flight or fight. This man came at her aggressively. He had already thrown her phone, took it out of her hand, threw it across the parking lot. And then you driving away, but then I don't know if she said something to him, which caused him to stop, get out of his car. Yes, Marcia E. Get out of his car and approach her aggressively, and she shot him. Now, did she have permission to carry? Did she have an open carry? Who knows? But she shot him. Okay? I see this as self-defense. That's just me. Self-defense. Now, Donald Trump tweeted on his I guess his thing, it just popped up. He said the European Union, one of the most hostile and abusive taxing and tariffing authorities in the world, which was formed for the sole purpose of taking advantage of the United States, has just put a nasty 50% tariff on whiskey. If this tariff is not removed immediately, the U.S. will shortly place a 200% tariff on all wines, champagnes, and alcoholic products coming out of France and other EU represented countries. All right, Donald, let me tell you. They're not going to pay for it. We are. But we won't be buying it. Are we kidding here? Oh my God. Yep, I don't know if the gun was registered her or not. Don't know if she had a concealed carry. I don't know if the state has a rule about concealed carry. I know Texas has open carry. So I'm not sure about 200%. Yes, 200%. 200%. Good morning, Crafting. Good morning. I'm like, are we kidding? Who is it going to hurt? They just won't ship it. Get out of here. It's going to hurt the consumers, not the European Union. Are you kidding? All right. Let me just give you a little background on the Arkansas 21, okay? This happened March 5th, 1959. There were 69 students that were locked in a reform school. The doors were locked from outside. Okay. There was a fire that ignited around 4 a.m. in the morning. This was in Pulaski County, Wrightsville, Arkansas. This is like 13 miles from Little Rock. On that morning, 69 kids were locked in. 48 escaped. The kids' ages were between 13 and 17. I'm going to say fair use is what
it was just a way.
And I'm going to start from the beginning because I went back through it because I was writing down things that I wanted to talk about. So this is from, the Wood Entertainment Group. Okay. It's called the Wrightsville 21. I pinned the link at the top. I also pinned a link for the encyclopedia where you can go and read the story for yourself. This was really bad. They're going to bring up the Little Rock 9. There were 9 students that when they unsegregated schools, okay, they were trying to go into Central High School in Little Rock. The Arkansas 9 are Minnie Jean Brown Trickery, Terrence James Roberts, Elizabeth Ann Eckford, Ernest Gideon Green, Gloria Ray Kalmark, Carlotta Walls Lanier, Thelma Mothershed Ware, and Jefferson Allison Thomas, who passed away in 2010. The rest are still alive. And they are the Little Rock 9. So here we go. Again, this is fair use.
Can you keep a secret? Well, the state of Arkansas can and has for nearly 50 years kept a secret of the Holocaustic death of 21 African American boys ages 13 through 17 years old.
Good morning, Ann. Happy Friday.
We're all familiar with Jim Crow laws rooted in the Deep South, which made life almost unbearable for many of our fellow human beings, nearly all of the 20th century. Why, you may ask?
We're familiar with the Jim Crow law, right? I'm sure we all are. No blacks allowed, white segregated. You couldn't go to the bathrooms. You had to drink out of this fountain. You couldn't drink out the same fountain as the whites. So, yeah.
Well, it's simple. It was all because of the color of their skin. Legal segregation was common law back then, and civil rights for African Americans was almost non-existent. Lynchings, bombings, and outright disrespect set the stage for some of the most worst times in American history. And Arkansas was surely not immune to these problems. Most Americans became quite familiar with the small southern state of Arkansas, mainly due to the Central High crisis. The defiance by then Governor Orville Faubus and his blatant public refusal to obey the Brown versus Board of Education desegregation laws passed in 1954. This law ruled segregated schools to be unconstitutional. Faubus also gained notoriety for his use of the Arkansas National Guard to prohibit the entrance of African American students at Little Rock Central High School in 1957. His actions not only made national headlines, but international headlines as well. From then on, these students became known as the Little Rock 9.
There they go.
To date, these events still remain some of the most dire times in Arkansas history. But it didn't end there. The Little Rock 9 and the Central High desegregation crisis would only be the catalyst that set the stage for even more unimaginable and inhumane events etched in Arkansas's past. Events such as the 58-59 law school year, in which Faubus closed all Little Rock schools, followed the Little Rock Central High School crisis, which was merely a continuation of Faubus's defiance to desegregate Little Rock public schools. If fathers couldn't keep blacks out of schools, then there would be fathers and his people then attempted to lease all of the public school buildings and open them as private entities, which only allowed whites to attend, but still be financed by public schools.
Did to keep black students out of schools. They opened them as private entities. So only white kids can go. They didn't want to educate the black kids. Didn't want to educate them. This is bullshit. And every time I hear this and I'm listening to it, I get madder and madder. And thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Ding, 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 ding. I got to get a bell. Thank you. I got to get a bell.
School funds. President Eisenhower ruled this to be unconstitutional, that a private entity be financed by public school funds, and the Little Rock School District lawyer.
This is what we're doing now. So remember we discussed a couple of months ago how they're trying to get charter schools to be financed by the government. And they're saying, hell no. They're trying to get Christian charter schools to be financed by the government. That's what they're trying to do. And, you know, everybody screams about the separation of state and church. Keep them separated. Keep them separated.
Lawyers would block the leasing of the public schools for private use. So this left a void for the students. And this angered many of the white citizens because this action also left their children with no place to attend school. To solve the problem, Dr. T.J. Rainey, personal physician to Governor Faubus, organized the Private School Corporation. The Private School Corporation opened T.J. Rainey High School on 16th and Lewis Street, which was a privately funded school for white students where most of the white pupils attended to get their education for the 58-59 school year. But for many other students, their fate would not be so fortunate, because many never attended school that year at all. Some waited and finished the next school year a year behind, and some went into the workforce and never received the chance to reclaim their lost year. Although the lost year is less known to the public than the Little Rock Central High crisis, there may be an even lesser known event that also happened as a result of these two aforementioned events.
They're likening this to the Holocaust, okay? You remember the Holocaust took place between 1940, 44, 41 to 1945, when it was a genocide of of European Jews during World War II. This is what they're likening this burning, this school fire to. They're calling it genocide.
A tragedy so horrid, it's almost never again been mentioned. March 2nd, 1959. The Little Rock Chamber of Commerce says the city's high schools should be reopened on a controlled plan of desegregation to satisfy the federal courts and, of course, to stimulate the fledgling local economy. This action, in turn, sets the stage for the most unimaginable and inhumane tragedy ever recorded in Arkansas history. The Holocaustic massacre of 21 young African-American children, which we have referred to and named the Wrightsville 21.
March 5th, 1959, a fire breaks out at the Arkansas Negro Boys Industrial School, but the only doors are locked. 48 children escape, 21 die.
The city nobody's power
They were
in corners or in
from the outside. They were padlocked in this school from the outside. Doors weren't locked from the inside, from the outside. Now, we know when we go into a school building these days, they say all doors must be unlocked during certain hours. So they're locked for you to go in the inside. You got to ring the little buzzer. But if the kids need to get out, they can get out. There was no escape for those 21. 48 got out. You saw when they were talking about the smell of burning flesh. One guy gets up here and he's going to talk about, his wife. And she talks about how Her husband still has nightmares, still had nightmares about this fire, but he died from cancer. This is sick.
Situations where they were trying to get out.
Arkansas's secret holocaust, Monday at 10.
Wrightsville, Arkansas, located 10 miles southeast of Little Rock, was home to the Wrightsville Negro Boys Industrial School, an institution developed to house young African-American children convicted of minor offenses, since there was no juvenile justice system or orphanages for blacks in 1959. The previous alternative was sending these children to Cummins Prison. The school was originally designed as an educational institution, which quickly grew criticism from whites. The original black superintendent, Dr. Tandy Coggs, was replaced by then Governor Carl Bailey, who opposed African Americans in his administration. A white superintendent was appointed, and the emphasis shifted from an educational to a more punitive institution. L.R. Gaines was then appointed as superintendent. As research indicated, African American youth responded better under African American leadership. Some were there for committing minor offenses such as stealing money out of the March of Dimes or soaking windows. Many of the boys were housed there because they had no place to go. Some were from broken homes, others were sent there for just being truant from school. The truant officers pursued the young black boys with a predatory zeal. Listen to this testimony as to how the boys were singled out and sent away to the Wrightsville Negro Boys Industrial School.
Dean Green was the truant officer, and that he went around all in the black neighborhood, and kids were playing hooky from school or wasn't in school that day or anything that they were accused of. He was the one that would pick them up.
There was a guy named Dean Green, and they had several other guys who dealt with truancy. That's kind of what landed me there. Basically, is not going to school and leaving home. They took me to the juvenile hall, and the juvenile court sent you to the boys' school.
Well, no jury trial is there? There was no jury trial. That's a J.P. Hearing. What is that? That's where you'll go to the police and go to chief police, and they sit down and they have a hearing on you.
I don't remember a trial. I remember them sentencing me telling me I had to go to the boys' school. First time you go to boys' school, they've seen you for 5 months.
You can imagine what it was like. That basically, in making a determination, they probably just brought a child into their office. I mean, there was no counsel. It was just a total arbitrary decision that was in that whole era of Jim Crow, that you just did that over and over again, and nobody even thought about it.
So what they did was they went through the black neighborhoods, and if they saw black boys out, it didn't matter if they didn't have school that day or not. They were picking them up and sending them to this school. So they were bounty hunters on black kids that were just out minding their business, basically is what happened. Jesus Christ.
They'd be picked up off the street, and they would just take them, and then the parents were notified later, after they were at the boys' industrial school.
When did your family first find out that Amos was being taken to the boys' industrial school?
Second day after he was arrested. When was the first time that you had contact with your mother?
Probably, within the first month. My mother came to visit me, so she'd come to see about me. But, about close to maybe a month or so into after being there.
Parents didn't have very much recourse then after their child was picked up. They just had to kind of go along with the program. Sometimes parents were able to bring their kids back home, and sometimes they weren't.
In 1959, you had kids who were just simply didn't have a place to go. They hadn't done anything wrong. They hadn't violated any laws. They were a lot of them were just dependent, neglected kids that the state of Arkansas wasn't doing anything about.
It all depended on what Mr. Green said, or what he thought about that child, or the family of that child. And kids, especially boys, feared him.
It was a totally just willy-nilly process of making decisions about very important questions of law.
I remember them refer to them as bad boys. They weren't that mean. The ones that I came in contact with, they were just ordinary kids.
And once the boys were sent to the Wrightsville Negro Boys Industrial School, they were forced to live in dilapidated buildings. They had very little supervision, no indoor plumbing, and were forced to drink contaminated groundwater.
Okay. Dilapidated buildings, no indoor plumbing, and they had to drink groundwater. What? What was the purpose of sending them to this school? Why? They weren't in school. You had some stealing from whatever. Really? This is sickening.
The quarters were unfit for human habitation.
Jesus.
69 boys were forced to live literally 3 feet apart from each other in a space of 1,500 square feet.
1,500
Let's talk about the
square
school.
feet.
What kind of building was it?
1,500 square feet. Let's see. My apartment is about 1147. I couldn't have 69 people in here. I couldn't have that. I could, but no.
They had some wooden buildings. They had all wooden buildings. There were 3. It looked like it was, well, at that time, looked like what had been an army camp or army barracks. There were wooden buildings there. And it was like a U-shaped
What lavatory?
building.
Wait a minute. They said lavatory. What lavatory? They had no running water. Sleeping area, lavatory. The chapel is bigger than everything. Caretaker's quarters, classroom, workshop, storage. What lavatory? They had no running water. Get the hell out of here.
Part of the building was where the U came out at, and that was like the recreation or the common hall or the common area. And the other wing was a dormitory, and another wing was classroom, the one classroom they had.
The building was constructed in the early 20s. In your perception, was the condition of the building sufficient enough to house some 69 boys? We're talking about the small boys' dorm that ultimately was destroyed by fire.
I would think it was not, because by that time I had passed through the military service, had lived in a barracks, and had some idea of how many guys would live in a barracks and how it was laid out and all that. I didn't think that the boys' barracks had any of those qualities.
It wasn't fit for human beings and for kids to be. And where did they sleep, that many kids in such a small area?
69
Did you have
kids.
any concern regarding safety as fire protection?
Yes, I did. I knew that the building was not structurally sound. And as I recall, there were no fire stations in that area. So if a fire broke out, you would have to drive the fire trucks all the way practically from Little Rock there.
This is sad.
So that was a concern, and all you could do is hope that nothing happened, because you didn't have that many opportunities to correct the situation.
The thing that stood out about the whole situation was that they would lock you in this dormitory and wouldn't be any staff there, because the superintendent would go home, come back to Little every evening about 5 or 6 o'clock, when they closed their offices. They would put another little guy in there, and he would, supposedly they called him night sergeant. He was supposed to monitor what went on at night. And then he would just report what happened the next day. If something happened, could nobody get out?
I was kind of concerned about the door in like the center of the barracks, because I've been familiar with the barracks having two exits, and if you barred one, you could get out the other one. And so to have a barracks, a sleeping facility that had one exit, to me at that time it looked like it was just different from a military barracks.
Where would y'all eat? Did y'all have a dining hall? Yeah, they had a dining hall. It was a separate building, and in the end, they had the dining room, and it was supposed to be a chapel, and they turned it into a music room, a band room, or something like that.
The eating place was like the dormitory. It was a wooden building without all that many amenities or facilities.
It's mentioned in your work that the staff would bring in their own water because of what appeared to be either a high copper or a phosphorus content. Did you have a problem with that?
Yes, I did, because number one, your people that were working there would tell you, be careful about drinking this water, or be careful about this, that, and the other.
So the people that
because
worked there were
they
warned.
knew that water was contaminated.
The staff would bring water, and for the boys to get water, they have all these large jars and buckets and crocks and whatever, and boys would go to the well or to a pond and get water.
They had corporal punishment. Matter of fact, they were using fan belts and all that stuff to beat the boys with and all that. Yeah. They had corporal punishment. They was. Do you remember whipping night? Yeah, they'd have whipping nights, and they'd have a night when they would had a common area. They would call everybody who they thought had an infraction. They had metal trays. If you made noise hitting the tray with your spoon, you'd get beat for that. And they had a lot of crazy stuff going on down there. Yeah. What would they beat them with? You said they had. I'm telling you, they had fan belts. They had wooden paddles. They had leather, the hide. They had a piece of leather, maybe about this long, about this wide, onto a wooden handle, and they would have you bend over, touch your toes, and they'd beat you with that. Also use a fan belt. You just hit them anywhere.
Guys, if you want me to stop playing it, I'll stop, because I know this is a lot for some people to hear, but I wanted to show what I was talking about when I posted this on my community tab. So if you don't want me to play it, I won't play it.
Then they had this guy, one guy used to hit him with this stick, this walking stick. What about farm labor? Do you ever remember any of the big boys up there? Yeah, they were doing farm labor down there.
My father would go to the farm headquarters, which was on the other side of the dormitory. And he had a crew of boys that worked with him, worked for him. And he was doing produce, raising produce for the boys.
Rainey's on that land, hiding around there. And I think that they used to use the boys from the school to pick Rainey's cotton. There was a guy named, he owned most of that property around that boys' school. His name was Rainey. He was some rich, I think he was a lawyer here in Little Rock. I forget. Dr. Yeah.
Now,
that's who owned a lot of that property around there.
Did you get paid $1 a day?
They didn't pay you nothing.
This man was an influential doctor. Well, even a little 8, 9-year-old kid knew when Mr. Rainey's Cadillac came down the road who that was. Wasn't he friends with the governor?
Well, according to the news, he was the governor's personal physician.
Okay, yeah.
Was there more emphasis on you guys working in the field or being in the classroom learning the 3 R's?
There was no emphasis on the classroom, period. No emphasis on the classroom. I mostly read just how somebody had donated a bunch of.
Let me just say this. So on my community wall, you know, everybody knows about a lot of inventors and everything else. What I was posting was a part of history that people didn't know about. They didn't talk about, you know, about the sons that witnessed their mother being arred, and they attacked. And they went, so all of these stories I was trying to post on my community wall. And I said I was going to keep posting stuff about Black history, just not in February, but Black history, period. So I will continue to post those stories.
Books, and I guess I just kind of developed an interest in reading, so I just read. I did a lot of reading on my own.
During the time that I was there, I do not remember having gone to one of the classrooms.
3 R's are reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Boys sitting in a class to see a teacher actually performing. They might have been doing that, but I don't remember seeing that.
It was just a place of containment. It wasn't really any instruction going on. It was just a way to control the group, to keep the boys structured doing something. You'd sit up in a classroom. They had the instructors there, but they weren't really engaged. They just practically just had a job as a teacher. I don't know if they even had qualifications as a teacher, because there was no teaching going on.
Educationally, they were not progressing. A certain amount of time should have been spent in the schools, but if they needed you to milk a cow, that takes away from your school time. And the schooling was not one of the big things that was looked after. It was kind of an afterthought. And the bigger boys might not have gotten as much schooling as the younger boys, because the younger ones may be a little bit too young to work in the fields and looking after the cows and so forth.
And that made a lot of guys not go back to school after they left, because they were behind, or way behind their classmates. They may be a year or two behind, because some of those guys stayed 15 months and 12 months, and so if they were behind, a lot of them would not go back to school. A lot of them did not.
69 boys in a 1,500 square foot dormitory is literally 3 feet apart from each other.
Very close.
Where were the sanitary facilities in proximity to the dormitory?
Out in the bushes. There may have been buckets in there, but I do not recall any kind of flush type setup that they had.
Buckets.
In the dormitory, they bought a barrel in there they urinated in, and then some of the boys would have to take it out and dump it in the next morning. And they had a bathroom in there, but it was stopped up and nobody ever got it working. They never even tried to get it working. It was just there.
What were your bathing conditions? Did y'all have hot?
No, there was no hot water in there.
How about electricity, like lights where they could see at night?
They had one great big light.
They had a light in the ceiling. It was kind of hanging down like that.
Oh my God! When was this?
No one except the 69 boys, ages 13 through 17, were in the building. Normally, an adult vocational job banks sleeps in the building, in a room separated.
That's my question. Why wasn't, you heard the man say that there was someone there at night. Why wasn't he there that night? I think this was intentionally set. They still don't know how the fire happened, but the staff that was supposed to be there was not there that night. That is very strange to me.
By 2 doors from the dormitory. He went to a hospital, ill, February 21st, and no adult had been staying in the building at night. Instead, 2 of the students were appointed sergeants to be in charge at night. They had no keys to the locked doors.
It was locked
Mr. Banks, can you tell us a little bit about your father and what he did at the Wrightsville Negro Boys Industrial School?
Well, all I know was that he conducted that school and his part like he did at the public school of Tucker, where he was. He taught them music. He was the coach of the baseball team.
They had little baseball teams, and they'd go into Wrightsville and the little Woodsons in the communities and play the local teams. They did that, or they would come there and they would play. They did that.
I bought this truck because I don't know if it's the same year, but he brought 16 boys on a green Ford pickup truck here to sing. They sang at Caldwell Hall.
Now, these are 16 boys from the Wrightsville Boys Industrial School.
Yes. And they came here. He sent them downtown, and they were truck weather. They all came back. They went over there and sang. They sang Ezekiel Saw the Wheel. And then they went back to Wrightsville. My dad was sitting in the middle of that truck.
In the middle?
Yeah, he sat in the cab. Another boy sat on the other side. Another boy named Scrap Iron drove the truck. They liked my dad very much. Like I said, my dad was running that school, his part of it, like he conducted at the regular public school.
So he stayed inside of the dormitories with the boys at night?
At night.
Now, when we say stayed inside, are we talking about inside of the dormitory behind the locked doors?
He had a room, a part there where he slept with those boys. He did not fear those boys doing anything to him.
On March 4th, 1959, between the hours of 7 and 10 p.m., the boys were locked in for the last time, and their fate was sealed. It's not known who locked the door or what happened to the 3 sets of keys. All that's known is the building mysteriously caught fire.
The morning of the fire, I remember it very, very vividly because I had a friend who was incarcerated, is what they were. And my main concern was he burned or was he alive? When I found that he was alive, it was just a big relief for me.
Another burning of the body. Of course, you had never smelled anything like that. So this was not an event that you could forget anything about.
The dog made it on a unit. You had a big old thick screw they made it inside and outside. You had the 16-penny nails to them. And when you come out, you had to go around from the inside. You got that leak. You had to get the outsides. And the door just pointed to it. Really locked. There's one door in there. It's locked from outside. That door that had the padlock on. That door that just went to us, the one that understood that they got the burning stuff there, and all what's the one that you okay. The door came over, the fire kind of did it up and made a retreat. That's when all the fire and all the smoke picked up. So we got out the window, they ended up telling me we had the window. It was 8 beds up. Right there. We counted. But we didn't. We counted unaccounted. We had number 1 window. So rest of them still had them thick wires and stuff. So I was trying to tell them, count up 8 beds. When everybody was screaming hard, you couldn't hear them. They were all clustered up on top of each other. And nobody trying to get out there and window now. They started screaming hard. I don't want them to run back in and save something. And that fire and smoke got putting on that. First one out, you understand, he had his picket on out because he just sitting up in the window. Anything you know, you hear the moon that flash hit.
Bodies piled in corners or in situations where they were trying to get out. Some by the door, maybe some by windows, and they were overtaken by smoke where they were.
The firemen sprayed water over the hot bricks before they could make their search. as the heavy spray of the skeleton of a boy was uncovered. A cry arose from a group of boys who had escaped. They had been standing, silent, watching the operations of firemen. "Look, there's one now," said one of the boys. The spray uncovered a pile of bones near a window inside the building.
One by one, they were dying on top of each other.
Oh my God. Okay. Let me just. Whoo. This is a lot. And I've seen this.
Somehow my mother stated that she felt as if they died, each holding on to the hope for God to save them.
And they knocked on the door. Okay. My husband looked just like this. They said the building was on fire. And see, I had water in my house. And I turned the water on, they set a bucket up and they started the water brigade. And they started carrying water flowing on.
Well, you opened your door, and the boys knocked on the door, and they said that the building or the door
They
was
wanted
on
some
fire.
water. They wanted some water because the building was on fire.
Now, you're being 50 yards away. Could you look out and see the building burning?
I saw smoke.
But not flames. Or were there flames?
I don't know. I remember it's smoke, a big thing of smoke coming out.
Okay.
And then I called the fire department, Mr. James, and the necessary people. But they didn't come when I called them, because I was mad.
I just want to stop. Good morning, Chantel. Good morning. Break the silence. This is the story of the Arkansas 21. Well, it's called the Arkansas 21, but it was actually 69 boys that lived in a school. It caught fire one night. High down neck. The doors were padlocked from the outside. 21 guys burned to death. 48 escaped. This was in Wrightsville, Arkansas, at an all-black school, at an all-boys black school. And somehow or another, this fire was mysteriously set. And the doors were locked from the outside, padlocked. So you see this, right? The fire company 13 made the trip with the approval of the city manager, Dean Dooley. The fire captain, Seaton, said the building was nearly gone when they arrived. There were no fire hydrants, so the firemen was going to go, no fire hydrant. For the school. Survivor's son, George Gray, 14 of Little Rock, who suffered a cut on his right ear in going through the window, was unable to talk. He seemed in a daze hours after his harrowing experience. He could only manage to stutter his name, age, and hometown, and say he was cut by a piece of glass. This is sad. To live through this, the smell.
They were bringing bodies out. They were bringing pieces out. They were bringing stuff out.
Yes, when
I just saw the torso. It was a torso, and that's all that was.
That must have been a pretty horrific memory for a 13-year-old girl to have to remember.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
We were running paws and stuff like this, arms and running, keys and stuff from different people. So I went on top of each other with some of these body wouldn't burn all the way off. That was thinking. It might have been 2 or 3 on the last one.
I remember seeing Daniels, and he had a gold belt on, and we saw the belt, and all the boys were talking among themselves about who it was.
How'd you recognize it? Was it only by the belt?
Only by the belt. but I was pretty sure of the belt. You know, it was a unique gold belt, and everybody knew who the belt belonged to.
Describe what you saw attached to the belt.
A charred, burnt body. It was burnt beyond recognition of, as far as looking at the body, telling who it was. The belt was the only indication of who the person was.
Okay, but there were no arms, no
legs.
So just to say, the kids were ranging age from 13 to 17 years old. Those were the boys that were in this 1,500 square foot place with only 15 feet of it for sleeping, a lavatory that had no running water at all. And the toilet, as he said, was backed up. No one used it. They brought a barrel in for them to use, and then the boys would take it out and dump it in the morning.
So it was just attached to a torso.
Right.
Other than the rain, we're still telling, steady rain, it's kind of cold. It was cold. And out there, it's still, you're not. It's just, the man wouldn't even sit up. Just like right now, might as well just be a pleasant day. Because all you look at, you think about your friends, your associates, you passed away, you still smelling the virus and stuff. And you gotta do the best you could. So what else could you do?
How did you feel the night of the fire, knowing that 21 boys that you had cared for had lost their lives?
Is there a God? Is there a God? Why would God let these boys get burned up? And I know them, his one come with his little finger, he picked it with a pen, straight pen or something. He's picked it so he can come to the nurse and I'll put some alcohol or something on him, the Band-Aid. All these little boys over there burning up. How would you feel? You don't forget that.
It was about a month to get that sin out of your system and stuff, and body cells and all this stuff. I don't care where you go or what you eat, you still, there's body cells was in you. I mean, it take care of it wherever.
Governor Faber said he had inspected closely the school a year ago with Superintendent L.R. Gaines, and that he had given special attention to the safety features, fire extinguishers, means of ingress and egress. He said he believed the safety precautions were adequate.
There were no fire hydrants. There was nothing. You believe they were adequate? Are you kidding me? Adequate?
The morning of the fire, Superintendent L.R. Gaines told Governor Faubus and the press the doors were locked and no one had keys and there were no adults in the building. Wilson Hall gave a conflicting account. Hall indicated he was on duty inside the dormitory and told reporters that he was seated next to the large wood stove in the classroom. He said he'd been there since 10 p.m. the night before the fire. At 4 p.m. the day of the fire, Superintendent L.R. Gaines contacted the Arkansas Democrat to recant his early morning account of the fire. L.R. Gaines now stated that there were adults on the premises with keys and blames his confusion on shock due to the massive loss of life. A few days later, Gaines avoided grand jury.
We heard the survivor said there was no adults there. They said there was no adults.
Testimony by abruptly moving to Chicago with his wife.
In the news account, it said that Gaines asked Wilson Hall to change his story.
I wouldn't doubt that. He also asked him, he told him what to say in the first story. Okay. So I'm not surprised to hear that he came back later in the day and told him to change it.
How do you know that this actually occurred?
You heard our mother and dad talking about it.
Right.
Contemporaneous when it was happening. And she was saying, Wilson, why are you doing that? Wilson, why are you letting him make you do that?
You remember hearing your mother asking your father, Wilson Hall, why he allowed Gaines to influence him to say that there was an adult in the building at the time of the fire with keys, specifically him.
He never had keys to the building. He had no responsibility for keys, locking and unlocking the doors. But what he was a good person, a gullible person, who when Mr. Gaines, the superintendent, came to him that morning, said, "This is what I want you to say." And he was too gullible to know what he was about to do. And he went
No, he wasn't gullible.
But he had no responsibility for having the keys and unlocking those doors. Never did.
Any reasonable person would have known that those kids weren't supposed to be locked in by themselves with no ability to get out. And my father, I'm sure, didn't think about the negative consequences that would have ensued.
6 hours after the fire, back in his office at the Capitol, Governor Faubus charged that it was caused by negligence and that there would be an investigation to the fullest extent to place the blame. This is absolutely
no investigation. Still to this day, they don't know how the fire happened. And a lot of the boys that died in that fire was misidentified. Okay? Stop the bullshit.
Inexcusable, the governor said. All the boys could have escaped before the fire cut off their means of exit had there been someone in the building to unlock the doors.
Say it again. All the boys could have escaped if there was someone in there to unlock the doors. Here's my thing. The doors was padlocked from the outside, not the inside. So why would an adult be in there at night if the door is padlocked from the outside, not locked from the inside? This one guy said that he had no fear of these boys trying to do anything to him. So why is the door padlocked from the outside? Explain that.
The news on the television that evening, the day of the fire.
You remember the television news?
Yes, I do. And Father said, after saying whatever he said about other people, he said, and Wilson Hall should be kicked off the farm. I do remember him saying Wilson Hall should be kicked off. And as we sat there around our television and heard that was tough on all of us, knowing that he had no responsibility for those boys.
Knowing he was not on the premises.
Correct.
How did it make you feel?
It was bad. It made me feel real bad. Never forgot it. Never gave Governor Faubus. It's pretty rough.
We were off the property. We were forced to move off the property probably within a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the pain the parents must have felt? First, having their children taken unwillingly, and then dealing with the news that their sons had been locked in and burned alive.
Can you
Share
imagine?
with us that Thursday morning, the day of the fire, when you found out that Willie was in it. How did you find out about the fire?
My wife, friend, they was working at the furniture factory. And she called her that morning. She said, "Polly, you heard about the boys in school just got burned down the rise?" She said, "No, we hadn't got up because it was around about 5:30, 6 o'clock when she called that."
The Reverend Hilton came and knocked on the door. Told my mom, boys and duck school was on fire and right. Mom and Dad on the Reverend Hilton.
So that time I called Mr. Folsom, that was my former water company, and told him what happened. He said, "Well, Elmer, take off all the time you want to see just what happened." So after that, me and my wife got in the car and we went down there.
I remember my dad, but going places and doing things, like that. But I really didn't understand. I knew where he was going at the time because he really didn't know at the time what he was doing. He was just going to find out to see if it did happen.
I just got on that by what? 10 or 11 o'clock that day.
When you got down there till you turned good for the duck school. Sheriff had that for the little block. Couldn't go down to the school. Couldn't get to the school.
Went out there, we stayed on the highway. And right. And every time the state trooper go down, come back about 5, 6 lanes. The ball was down there. He made 3 trips. And our boy was the last boy. He was the last one they come out. And my wife was the same.
that Amos was one of the dead.
I had thought. Now he was one of the dead.
How did that make you feel?
Okay.
And your mother?
She was also God also.
I had to put her in the car.
Yes, sir.
Really appreciate that. If I couldn't wife her home.
Things got just really crazy, I think. You know, it's just really sick. You get this sick feeling in your stomach. And then I see my mother standing at the table. Oh, God. Standing at the table, crying. My dad in the bedroom screaming. That was awful.
And I don't think I went over there to that funeral home until that next day. I went to Ducey on the TV show. And that's where I went in with a twin boy lying on the sidewalk. Couldn't cry nothing because I wouldn't look at him with this newspaper. So I don't know who was boy. I don't know my boy from another boy. Just like one lady named Miss Black. Now she picked one boy out of that bunch and carried him to a big ball of blood. That's what she's supposed to care. Somebody's boy.
How do you know that that was not her boy?
That's what I said. She don't know whether that is her boy or my boy.
Why is there a question in your mind that there was not proper identification of the boys or the remains, if you will?
Yeah, you didn't have nothing to go by. If it was all wrapped up, you couldn't see no bones or no nothing. It was wrapped up tight.
So, Mr. Warner, let me get this straight. When you went in to do this, you were allowed to examine body parts wrapped in newspaper.
You couldn't see nothing. Everything was wrapped up tight.
Did you hear he was allowed to examine body parts wrapped up in newspaper, and him and this other woman didn't know if it was their boy, if it was their child or not? You allowed parents to examine remains wrapped up in newspaper. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? I know back then, you know, we didn't have all the DNA testing and all this stuff, but come on, guys, come on. I can't.
You couldn't see nothing. You couldn't say, well, that's my boy, that's so-and-so boy. I couldn't say that. Because he's talking about I could have been talking about your brother. Somebody else's son. Somebody else's boy over there.
I tried to dump the music.
It wouldn't let you to go by. But just what you see laying it wrapped up in that paper.
Now, the ones who could recognize their children decided not to have them buried at the Haven of Rest Cemetery with the other 14 boys that could not be identified. At that time, Governor Orville Faubus elected to pay for the burial of the 14 boys who died in the pile from his emergency fund. I don't remember how it was decided to bury all of them.
They were buried in a single grave at Haven of Rest Cemetery. 14. The other 7 that were identified, they were buried separately. They just put these bones in the ground.
In one big grave. My mother just states that she felt like she was in a haze, and she didn't remember a whole lot about the circumstances. The caskets were small, like baby coffins. That was the saddest day of my mother's 81 years.
You know, then you go to the services or whatever it was, all these caskets, these little small caskets in this row, in a line, you know, just scattered out there. I said, it was an awful sight to see.
Thank you,
and you would think about how this happened.
During the funeral service, one of the mothers stood up and screamed, "You took my only son from me, and now you done took him and burned him up."
No one I have ever met since then can ever remember such a funeral service as sad as this one was. It was cloudy and cold on the 10th of March, and my mother states she will never forget that day.
Very little was done to assist the family members after the fire. Even black attorneys working with the Little Rock Nine and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund were prohibited from assisting the black families of the survivors. This denial of assistance led to former Governor Sid McMath of the McMath Woods law firm to represent many of the family members of the dead boys.
People burned crosses in our yard. I mean, I was taunted at school. Even, when I come home, people shunned me. Because we were called the N-word lovers, you know what I mean? And we were against Governor Faubus, who was a great hero.
When Sid McMath came to your house after the fire, what did he tell you he was going to do?
He didn't talk to the Lord. He just got our name, and he left. I guess he was going to all the people's house, getting names of the kids that, that got burned up there.
And with that, you felt like he was going to represent your family in a lawsuit.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I told you I got $800.
Did you ever meet Sid McMath, his law firm, supposedly?
No, I don't know about him.
Did you ever meet Woods? Well, there was a firm called the McMath Woods Law Firm that represented some of the families. Did you ever meet W.J. Walker, whose name is on the State Claims Commission?
No, I ain't met him.
Okay. The newspaper accounts say that you received $3,400. What did you do with the $3,400?
I didn't get but $1,000. And I went to Mr. Bond, Square Deal, and I cashed that check there.
They said she got $3,400. She only received $1,000. So those lawyers, like Erica Girardi's husband, pocketed that money.
And he said, "You mean to tell me this all they give you? Killing your child, so that's all I got."
The State Claims Commission says that your family received approximately $3,500. Do you think that was enough?
To my knowledge, the way we live, we never received no $3,500.
What did you receive?
Well, I know it's nothing.
You did not receive any monies from the State Claims Commission?
To my knowledge, we didn't receive anything.
How'd you get the $1,000 check?
The $1,000 check come in the mail.
But did you think it should have been more?
Yeah, I thought it. But what could I do about it? I couldn't do nothing about it.
They said several families filed claims totaling in excess of $250,000, which included you filing a claim for $25,000.
Lord, child, if I'd have got $25 in the shape I was in, I'd be praising God now.
Me too.
I'm still praised about it, praised him more.
But to lie about what it received.
The Arkansas State Claims Commission's primary function is the hearing and adjudication of claims against the state of Arkansas, its agencies, and institutions. It also is a fact-finding body for the General Assembly. The Commission hears as well as determine claims for property damage, personal injury, and, in the case of the Wrightsville 21, the loss of life. Now, by creating the State Claims Commission, the state of Arkansas created a method which allowed injured persons to be compensated without the state of Arkansas ever being made a defendant in any of its courts. In other words, the state of Arkansas could never be sued.
That time a fair award for the wrongful death of a child to a parent would have been $25,000 or $30,000, maybe $50,000. That would have been a fair award. So if you say $50,000, and you multiply that times 20, that's $1 million. So each of them ought to get $1 million. And when you get to talking about money like that, boy, people really shy away from it. In fact, you probably wouldn't even want to ask for it.
They never received that.
You probably want to ask maybe for 100 apiece. That sounds reasonable, okay? And then maybe they give you half that. But $100,000 doesn't sound all that unreasonable for that horror.
There were 5 fables elevated as potential causes for the fire by the Faubus administration. The first, arson, was immediately ruled out.
It was arson. It was arson. ARSON. That fire was deliberately set with those boys locked in that room. Stop it.
The second, lightning. The third, faulty wiring. The fourth, a makeshift wood stove. And the fifth, spontaneous combustion.
What is your gut feeling about those scenarios, and even do you believe either of those?
Spontaneous combustion in March. I don't know what could cause that, but to me, I would think of, I don't know, like maybe something could happen maybe in the summer months with heat. If it was by a wood stove, who was there? Who was putting the wood in the stove? If it was no adults there, who had this who was responsible to start and make the fires?
The wood stove would have died down in flame by that time of night, because you wouldn't put enough wood in a stove to have it burn all night. An AM burning is very unlikely because there would not be anything to burn in the stove.
There could have been an electrical fire, which I really doubt electrical.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Aesop's, drop your channel too, please. Guys, please drop your channel. And drop Breaking the Silence channel as well, because I know they don't have a wrench. But drop your channel, Chantel, Aesop's.
Fire would have
and drop Coochie's
blew
channel
up that
too,
big and caught everybody off guard. To get a fire to get that big and get out of hand and burn up that whole situation, I don't know. It's highly suspect.
The way the boys broke out of there, it does not look like it doesn't look like it was kind of internal. If it had been set inside, they would have used whatever blankets and pants and everything to try to whip the fire out. But that didn't happen.
There is something about this that someone or something is keeping it closed. And that's, I'm wondering why.
In the context of the desegregation crisis, this particular event happened during that lost year. Do you see if there was any kind of connection, in your opinion, as to some of the atrocities that were going on right downtown, where there were bombings and aggression and terroristic kinds of activities at the same time?
I think.
Do you feel like this particular incident may be part of that struggle?
As I have come to think of it lately, and you begin to put pieces of the puzzle together, I could see that those two things were not disconnected.
I'm sorry, I'm pausing. Oh my God, break the silence. I think that is a great idea. And I would love to host them, and then we can promote their channel. That is a really good idea. There's a lot of human trafficking in Texas, here in Spokane. That is a great idea. Matter of fact, the story that I'm going to cover on Chalice Welch is going to be one of those.
They were connected in some way, because they didn't seem to be the kinds of things that would happen independent of each other. And I have no reason to believe that that fire started by itself.
Now, it didn't start by itself.
Fire inspector within the state police immediately came out in the aftermath while the building had collapsed, and the boys, of course, were trapped inside, and made the statement that he was certain that arson was not the cause. Of those 5 causes, is it difficult for you to speculate, in your opinion, as to what you think the cause was?
I think the cause was arson.
Thank you.
I think it was set.
Thank you. It was arson. See? It failed to determine the cause of the fire, but also failed to indicate arson. It was arson. What are we trying to play with?
A few days after the fire, Senate Bill 433 was immediately passed. This bill declared the 2,763 acres of land to be designated as surplus. The bill would also advance the school money from an emergency fund, allowing repairs to existing illegally segregated institutions.
Illegally?
Here's how the money was spent. $150,000 was designated to replace the burned building at the Wrightsville Negro Boys.
But they couldn't pay the families. But they're dedicating money to replace the burned building. Look at this shit.
Industrial School. $15,000 was allocated for repairs at the Fargo Negro Girls Industrial School. $5,000 was designated for repairs to the Negro Blind School. $150,000 was allocated to build a children's wing at the McRae Sanitarium. $70,000 was allocated for staff at the Negro Blind and Deaf School. A few days later, Act 282 was passed, clearing the way for Dr. T.J. Rainey to buy all 2,763 acres of land owned by the Wrightsville Negro Boys Industrial School. Now, Dr. Rainey was already leasing 800 acres of land from the Wrightsville Negro Boys Industrial School for his horse racing and horse breeding operation. Dr. T.J. Rainey paid $226,000 in cash for all 2,763 acres of land.
That's it?
Later in the month, Dr. Rainey announced he was going to build a $1 million all-white school in the Boyle Park area of West Little Rock. Rainey was later appointed to the board of directors of the McRae Sanitarium.
Why do you think that there is still so much resistance to acknowledge the fact that these 21 young black boys had a dignity of life and a value of life, and they deserve to have the kind of memory and resolution to their death as anybody else?
Because this didn't happen now. I don't think this would have ever happened this way now. I don't think it would have been allowed to have been swept under the carpet the way it was. And I think it all goes back to the fact that they don't want to own up to the fact that there were more atrocities that went on during Faubus besides what's already known and what's already in the forefront and what everybody hears about every year, you know, and constantly about the Central Nine. You know, they don't want it brought up to them, and they don't want it brought out that, yeah, he made some more, there were more problems. He allowed other things to go along.
Thomas just got on that Tiger, and he never had control of it once it started. He controlled it at first. It was a Machiavellian ploy. But once that Tiger got out of the cage, boy, he took him with it and everybody else. I mean, we didn't know from day to day, you know, there might be a civil war down here, you know. Gosh, I mean, there were crazies out there. People packing heat.
Why open a can of worms about something that legislature would rather keep shut up anyway, you know? So why are they wanting to open it up now? They don't want to. They don't want to accept responsibility for this.
And they still haven't accepted a responsibility for this. Even to this day, they haven't accepted responsibility for this.
they would love to see it just never be spoken of again.
Exactly.
Have human beings of tender years, children, confined under circumstances where the proprietors and their supervisors knew or should have known that there was an imminent hazard of death and serious injury by fire and took no action to prevent it or properly deal with it once the hazard manifested.
When my brother was killed that way, because I say that's murder to me.
It is murder.
Because if you're not there in a school and nobody there to attend the school and you got kids locked up like that and no way of getting out.
You don't lock up cattle like that, okay? They don't lock up cattle like that. But you locked up 69 black young men, ages 13 to 17. They were locked in a building. They don't even do cattle like that.
Devastating to me. That is very, very hard to take. Very hard to take. It's what I've never had any kind of, never in my life had that kind of feeling before in my life.
People obey their responsibility. They did that in this day and time. It would be considered murder, like these people in these nursing homes and situations like that. If something happens on their watch, on their shift, they're responsible for it. So that's what I'm saying. And I don't really know. I mean, nobody was called to task behind it. Nobody has answered. I don't know anybody who answered to that in any kind of way.
No one was fired or relieved of duty. No one. No criminal charges. They were never made public. And that's some shit.
Why do you think people don't talk about those 21 boys, including Lindsay, that died in that fire?
You're scared, man. That's horrible.
With my mom, it was so horrific and she was so hurt by it all. She felt helpless to do anything. She never really even talked about it.
I didn't bury him, you know. I didn't put him in a grave or anything like that. I didn't even put him as being burned up. I just put him, he got away. This is in my mind, my thoughts, you know. He got away out of this place, you know. That he went somewhere and he got amnesia and don't know his way back home. That's how I was feeling, you know.
They
that's
never
my
made
thoughts
it public.
and how I was feeling.
Yeah, they never made it public.
People try to get away from pain. That's a painful thought. I pushed it in the back of my mind and just kind of got away from it, really.
Okay.
That's basically the way that went with me.
We never really talked about it. Yes. None of us. We never spoke about how each other felt about any of these. Not my father, not my mother, not my sisters or brothers. None of us. We never spoke about it. So we kind of just let that little door close, you know, and just put that in the back of your mind.
This woman just said she never buried her brother. She's in her mind. She was thinking he escaped, but she knows her brother is dead. This is sad. This is really sad.
Where you wanted to be, you know. So that's exactly what I did.
Now, the day that this happened, do you think that fear consumed you more than grief, or was it a combination of both?
was both with me. Fear and greed.
He's got like the same color skin my grandmother had, and yesterday was my grandmother's birthday. So when it dawned on me, it just hit me really, really hard. My grandfather was February 26th, and my grandmother was March 13th. And when I saw her, I thought about my grandmother's skin tone. And I was looking at her like, nope, she's not grandma, but she's got that skin tone.
No,
where'd the fear come from?
Well, my grandson's birthday's today.
They do me the same way.
When you talk about that fear that you felt, do you think that other black people had that fear which prevented them from taking the necessary steps to try to get further investigation done into the death?
They didn't have no help. Back down a long time ago.
When you talk about help, what kind of help? Like lawyers?
Lawyers, police even. No help come from too much.
They had nowhere to go, nobody that they could talk to about any of this kind of stuff, With so much going on in the state of Arkansas at that time, Central High was being integrated, and
22.
We were black people not being respected anyway, So where would they go for any kind of help?
We still have that kind of mentality in Arkansas. We've still got a plantation culture that rules a lot of our society here. People are simply afraid.
Dear Mr. Fathers, how utterly shocked and horrified I was to read of the death of 21 boys in the March 5th fire that swept the dormitory of the reform school these boys were in near Little Rock. I can picture the scene. 70 boys, awakened from sleep, frantically try to kick and smash through the escape-proof windows. Only one person from the outside is there to help them, and all he can do to help is tug at the screens. He is a 16-year-old trustee. Their screams, smoke, hungry tongues of fire, the sweetest smell of burning flesh. Some boys are lucky enough to make it out of their locked cages. Others are not. Those others lie on heaps by a securely fastened window. They are burned beyond recognition. A bit of charcoal is all that remains of the boys that had their whole lives ahead of them.
The burning of 21 colored boys should make you very happy. Congratulations.
The horror in Wrightsville is a direct reflection of your indifference to the Negroes and his problems throughout Arkansas. The black faces that must today be on your conscience should not only be the faces of those dead Negro boys, but the blackened faces that you have given the South in the eyes of the country and of this country in the eyes of the world.
We hold you and the Jim Crow system of the South just as responsible for the burning of the Negro children in Little Rock as if you had struck a match. We pledge to fight until you and the subhuman racialism you represent are thrown into the garbage dump of history.
That fire crackling is making me
In Arkansas, that's, we as part of our, heritage or lack of sophistication, we've always had a paternalistic kind of culture. And that doesn't just stop at the sort of paternalism that was exercised in the Jim Crow era. That's kind of applied to, it's kind of a white male supremacy kind of attitude toward everything. And that's who has ruled Arkansas pretty much from the beginning to the present.
You're never going to get anything done on a local level. It's going to have to be gone at an angle of doing it on a national level. You're going to have to get somebody nationally to talk to you and let people outside of the state of Arkansas know what happened. Until you do that, it's never going to go anywhere.
Nope.
State ain't gonna come up. You got to take somebody like you to push them. To come up to give the people the fair share of what they, what they lost.
We have to build a case so strong, so overwhelming, that justice will get up fall to the ground and cry out on her own for it. That it just, you don't need a lawyer. The facts speak for themselves. It's got to be overwhelming, and not just an accident that happened. And it would be in the same vein as Japanese-American reparations and that kind of thing. Only in this case, it's actually a more egregious situation because the victims were all confined in a facility that was not really suited for that purpose, and fire safety was, probably had none. It was certainly substandard.
If you had right now the authority to say something to the governor, the legislators, the county judges, the Pulaski County coroners, the medical examiners, to kind of make a blanket statement on finalizing these circumstances to these families and getting justice for these boys, what would you say if you could address them all right now and you were able to get action?
I would tell them that we need to do what is right, not as a white race, not as a black race, but as citizens of the state of Arkansas. We need to do what is right for these families, for this wrongful death of these young men, and give the families the closure that they deserve. They need to
get close to
exhume these remains. They need to identify these remains if there is such thing in the grave. They need to pay for the money or help raise the money for a monument for these young men.
Oh, there's a little plaque.
They need to give them the rightful place in the history of the state of Arkansas, just like the Central Nine got. These young men gave their life. The Central Nine didn't give their life.
I agree with you on that.
The bodies were supposedly buried at the Haven of Rest Cemetery. In order for the family members to have closure, this is what the family members of the deceased boys say they need to have.
I would just like to see justice done for this whole situation so that my family and all these other families can have some kind of closure in this situation. I'm sure we are not the only family that doesn't have closure in this situation. So I'm sure all the rest of the families that's involved in this situation would like to see this come to a closure where we can actually just find out what really happened on that night.
A fire was intentionally set to kill these young black boys so the guy can buy the property and build an all-white school. That's what happened.
I haven't seen a mark or anything anywhere that mentions these kids and anything about them or their life or how they died. I haven't seen anything. It's like they never existed. It feels like it just happened
yesterday,
a few weeks ago, because it has brought up all the emotions, and it's as if those boys was just worse than animals, that they were just put in there. They died.
I said that, and I didn't watch all the way to the end. Okay, I probably stopped it right about here. Not when the lady was talking, but right about there. And every time I watch it, I stop damn near at the same point. I said they were treated worse than animals, being padlocked in that place.
And their bones was just thrown someplace, and it was like they never lived.
Well, I would like to see him give me the right part of my share. What to my son, he was all of it to me, and we're speaking. And so I just like to see to get the best part of my share out of it that I can. That I can say, well, I got this to work with. We'll see, guys.
But will that bring your son back?
That's fine.
There needs to be monetary resolve. They need to be paid the way that they were supposed to have been paid at the time, instead of, okay, we'll give you a little bit of it, but this one's father's not alive anymore, so you only get half of it, or well, mom and daddy are all gone, so you don't get any. that doesn't get it.
Nope.
You gotta go back and give siblings and whoever a monetary amount. And I think myself that it should be in accordance with the dollar amount now compared to what
I was about to say that, not for what they were going to get back then. They need to get the monetary amount to what it would be now. And I just saw in a thing that $1,000 would be like $25,000.
We're supposed to have been given then.
But they said they got $2,500.
Should be some type of memorial somewhere listing these 21 boys and how they died, where they died.
Do you think there should be a marker down there at Wrightsville?
Yeah, I think so. Seems like to me it should.
Why?
Let everybody know what happened and what went on. But you know it's supposed to be a marker where you die and be buried at?
Where do you think that memorial should be?
I think that it wouldn't hurt if it was there at the state capitol. I also think a memorial should be there at the Wrightsville prison, the industrial school.
Yep.
Where these boys died. Should be a reminder there.
Yep.
Of what happened there 49 years ago.
You think there's anything in those coffins?
I don't know what it is or not. Well, if we get ours, we can open and look in it. We can look in ours and see. I can look at it and see. I can look in and see it.
Like they say, DNA tests are good now, right?
Yep.
They sure are. Okay. So if they could
exhume,
take those bodies that they have there and do DNA tests on these, what's left.
Yep.
And find out if these kids are really there and find out who belonged to who, because the way I see and the way I feel that this thing happened, there was nothing but bones. It couldn't have been nothing but bones anyway. So you can get a DNA test from the bones and find out whose family is who. And that way you could do whatever you need to do for that. Okay, if I could do that, I could have a lot of closure with that.
Yeah,
you know?
you could.
I said, this is my brother, you know, and that would be closure.
Do you think Willie's in haven of rest?
Now, Frank, that's a hard question for me to ask. For me to answer, though. I couldn't tell you. You said Seminole Bay. He could be where you said some Ben Pine Bluff or somewhere else.
Yep.
How would you know without you go down, dig out, and we give a blood test?
There you go.
Something like that. And then if he over there, then I said, well, that's why my son bed out there to have him to rest.
What if there aren't any remains there? Will you still have some satisfaction knowing the truth?
Well, I'd have some satisfaction if they just let us have it. We have some of the ashes from out there where they said they done buried it. We can get some of the ashes and let us have it. Put them over there where we got our graveyard plot.
Have you thought about it since 1959?
I'm good one. And I think about a lot of things that I should have forgotten.
And she said,
you know, you can't help but think about things.
But where are the bodies? Where are the remains? Are they really interned at the Haven of Rest Cemetery?
That is the question.
According to Horner, the morning of the fire, the body parts and human remains were not taken to the Pulaski County Coroner's Office for autopsy. They were taken to Dubison's funeral home with the body parts wrapped in newspaper. Horner went on to say he witnessed family members of the deceased boys selectively choosing the larger pieces of human remains and identifying the larger pieces as their sons, so as to not consciously consider them being a part of the 14 that died in a pile. When the 21 boys were killed, there was no autopsy, no identification, and no state or county oversight as to the disposition of their remains. As the Pulaski County Coroner states, the state of Arkansas is still responsible to identify the remains through DNA testing, but the state of Arkansas, the Pulaski County Coroner, and the prosecuting attorney have chosen to restrict any further investigation into the identification and
You hear that? They restricted it. Restricted it.
cause of death of the Wrightsville 21.
This is a private matter.
A
It does
private
not
matter.
involve the county. Okay? And that in order for the bodies to be disinterred, a court order would be required.
Yep.
They are considering this a private issue, not a public issue.
Okay, now let me ask you this, Doctor. In your opinion, how can a public issue that was handled supposedly by the public all of a sudden get flipped
To a private issue.
I can't answer that question because I
Of course
don't
you
know.
can.
Then what alternatives can I tell these family members that they have for getting their medical examinations done if the Pulaski County coroner is refusing to take the responsibility?
Go to the governor's office.
Damn. That's it.
What I would love for you to find, or somebody to find, or me to find, is the
Topping your.
That's it. I was going to play a little bit, and then, yep, it went from public to private. From public to private. It went from a public issue to something that happened publicly to now being restricted. And now they're not willing to do the DNA test. And you heard the coroner, Dr. Peretti, say, go to the governor's office. It's like, we don't want to discuss this. This really never happened. Never, ever, ever happened. That's what happened to the Arkansas. It was really 69 young men in this school, in this small space. 48 escaped. 21 died. Good morning, Mob Rats 1. How are you? And when I saw Muggsy asking me the question, and a couple other people were like, I never heard of this. When was this? What city? What state? And I said, you know what? Let me just cover this completely. Let me cover this completely. That is the story. I dropped the links. You can go read about them. It was Wrightsville, Arkansas. It's sad to know that 21 young men lost their lives and no one seems to care. No one seems to care. And that's what bothers me. And the fact that they lied about the money that was given to the families. $3,500. This lady says she got $1,000. That means the lawyers kept the rest of the money. One family was supposed to get $7,000. They didn't get anything. You heard the guy say, one guy said that, they said one family got $3,500. They didn't get a penny. So where did this money go to? You have 14 bodies that were just dumped in a grave altogether. No identification. They still won't do it to this day. They still won't do it to this day. And I agree with, I can't remember her name. They need to give them the money to the monetary value that is today's dollars, not what they should have received in 1959. That lady said that as far as she's concerned, she's never buried her brother. She has no closure. To me, she said to her she's saying her brother escaped. So that's what happened on March 5th, 1959. There was an investigation into the fire. The outcome was never made public. And if you go look for it today, you still won't find it. All of this investigation they did in March. Nothing took place in April. You never heard anything else about it. Never. I'm sure they did. I still want to know, why was that door padlocked? I get it. They had committed a crime. But padlocked from the outside? If you had somebody sitting there as an adult, wouldn't you have that door locked from the inside? but the outside padlocked, and there was a 16-year-old boy outside trying to pull at the screen, who's a trustee. That is a part of history that we don't hear about. So, again, I wanted to bring you that story, and I'm sorry if it triggered some people. I was going to do it as a video, but I couldn't get the crackling out. I tried to, but when I lowered the music, I lowered their voices even more. I said, you know what? I'm just going to play it directly from the channel. This is, of course, horrible. And break the silence, they matter. The story that I'm going to do, as soon as I get her dad on board, not on board. He hasn't had any sleep. He's going through a lot with his younger son, but I'm going to get her best friend, because I don't think I need to bring her dad, because he's all over the place. He's given me a lot of the stuff that I have right now. Her name is Chalice Welch. She's 24 years old. She had 4 kids. Well, she has 4 kids. She was in a very abusive relationship. And she just disappeared. Just up and disappeared. So I hope I can't say enjoyed it, but I hope this brought more knowledge. Because a lot of you, I was reading the comments, you didn't know anything about this. And I read the comments on my post when I did put it out there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because the way it sounded, I had to rewind that part a couple of times. It sounded like they were on, that they were on a bounty hunting mission. You see young black men outside, let's go pick them up, even if they didn't have school that day. That's what it sounded like to me, Snuggle. And I really hope Break the Silence really think about doing that. I wanted to say Aesop's has some good stuff on her channel as well. And her voice is so soothing. Oh my God, her voice is soothing. Thank you, Wendy. Oh my God. Lisa was on a tirade last night. Woo, Lord, she was on a tirade last night because of what Frauda the Reaper posted. She was on a tirade last night. She threatened her. She had 2 hours to take it down. Guess what, Lisa? 2 hours way up, still up. She put your shit on blast. Stop lying to people. But sometimes the junkies begging is funny as hell to me. You do, Aesop's. You have a very soothing voice. And I really like, and when I get a notification that you posted something, I go in and I listen. Well, see, Pam, that's why I'm serious. When I was going through and checking my comments on YouTube, that's what made me go, you know what? And I made myself a note. I said, I got to find this whole, but I had pulled it up and there was other little shorts, there are news articles on it. But when I found that mini document, that documentary, I said, let me just show this. And I sent an email to the company to see would it be okay if I played it. And I never heard back from him. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do this in a fair use way. So that way, if it does come back to bite me in the ass, oh, well, I'll just take the hit. But I think they just want the awareness out there. And that's why I played it. And hopefully I did it in a fair use manner. It was something else that came up while I was talking to you guys, and I don't know where it went to. But anyway, we'll probably discuss it tomorrow. Is there if there's something that you guys would like to discuss, I'm always open to ideas. It's not just about what I want to talk about. It's not just what I want to talk about. If it's something you're interested in talking about, let me know. If I haven't covered it, I need to find, because I know I did Emily Pike when she first went missing, but it was wrapped up in my morning story, in my morning coffee. And I need to find it. But I really want to get back to doing the stuff that I do the stuff that I like to do. I do the stuff that I like to do. So whatever you want to discuss, any topics you want to discuss, anything that's going on in your area that you want to bring awareness to everyone here, please let me know. I don't mind taking a dive into it because I will have a lot of time on my hand. Okay. So I have the time to do the research, to take a look, to see what's really out there, to see what's going on. I don't mind covering it at all. At all. And if I can find anything on it in the news or anywhere else, thank you, Pam. If I can find anywhere that's in the news that has anything on it, I would definitely bring it up. I've been telling you guys I have the Chippendale story. I do. I have the Chippendale story done. Been have it done. I just didn't have the time or the thing to just do it. And I think I'm going to do that one next week. I have to put it out because that is an interesting story as well. Oh, you're welcome, Aesops. You're welcome. I want to do the story on Emmett Till. That was a statue erected for Emmett Till. I really want to do that story. I know it's been done, but there is so much more to that Emmett Till story than has actually been put out. Okay, they were supposed to be releasing the assassination files of JFK and Martin Luther King. What I want them to release is Hoover's files on Martin Luther King and the Kennedys. That's the files I want to see. I've heard talk about it. I heard talk about all the blackmail that was going on. Those are the files I want to see. Those are the things that we can have discussions about. Yes, that's the one we discussed yesterday. Hi, Sarah motherfucking Z. There was an update. I thought on his story, he was only 68 pounds when he was locked in by his, a stepmother? The stepmother. He was 68 pounds. And then we have Wendy Williams story. I'm getting more into the Wendy Williams story as well. She was taken from her facility by ambulance, and now there is an investigation going on as to whether she needs to be under guardianship or not. I want all the Epstein files released too. Oh my God, do you think they would do that? So let's take a look. They're now talking to like some of the passengers that was on that American Airlines flight. Hold on. Let's take a look at this. While Oprah Winfrey's girlfriend is talking about it, Gail. I'm sorry. Gail, Oprah Winfrey's woman, allegedly.
Was something that's not a joke. It's another very scary situation on a plane. This time, an American Airlines flight caught fire on the ground in Denver after engine problems caused an emergency landing. We're happy to say that everybody got out alive here, but some were trapped on a wing as the fire burned. Chris Van Cleve joins us now from Denver's airport. Chris is somebody who's getting on a plane right after this show. I'm a little freaked out right now. Tell us what happened here.
Well, good morning. We talked to several passengers who were on this plane, grateful to be alive and unhurt, but also extremely frustrated as they waited nearly 9 hours for a relief plane to bring them home to Dallas. They described chaos as they were trying to get off this plane and away from those flames. They say it all started moments after the plane parked at the gate and that fastened seatbelt light turned off.
There it is.
That airplane inferno sent passengers running through blinding smoke Thursday evening at Denver's airport.
Oh my gosh.
I look out the window and there's flames.
Ingrid Hibbets and her family were on board American Airlines Flight 1006 as the cabin filled with smoke.
I'm really grateful that this happened on the ground, because if this happened in the air, I don't think I'd be standing here telling you the story.
The flames erupted below the engine of the Boeing 737 after it diverted to Denver. The FAA says the crew reported engine vibrations after taking off from Colorado Springs en route to Dallas with 178 on board. Many passengers, including this man holding a baby, found themselves standing on the wing as smoke billowed around them. Magdi Abdullati shot this video. What is going through your mind as this is happening?
We were scared that the fire will just start to get bigger and bigger.
The FAA is now investigating this latest in a string of air scares and 2 terrifying airline crashes since late January. Former NTSB chair Robert Sumwalt.
As we're talking, I'm in the back of a car on the way to the airport to go to Denver. Should I be concerned getting on a flight tonight after all of these issues we've seen the last few weeks?
I fly all the time. I'm not concerned.
People are wondering, myself included at this point, what's going on? Are these red flags to a bigger problem?
I frankly, after having been an aviation safety professional for over 4 decades, I don't see any linkage between these.
Now, American Airlines thanked its crew and first responders for getting everyone to safety. 12 people, the airport says, were transported to area hospitals with minor injuries. Tony?
Okay, and here's
Chris, thank you very much. We'll keep monitoring it.
Let me stop this. Here's the update from the young man, well, the 32-year-old. Hold on a second. I think this one is the update because I did flag it. Hold on. I did flag it. And today, Lori Jones has court for her eviction. Damn.
For joining us here for the News at 5, I'm Keisha Grant.
And I'm Mike Heideck. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. First, though, we are following a story you won't believe. Developing news out of Waterbury. A woman is accused of holding her stepson captive for 2 decades.
According to court documents, it began when he was in the 4th grade.
Black Roses.
He's now 31 years old.
Thank you.
NBC Connecticut's Amanda Pitts digging into this story for us. She's live in Waterbury with the shocking details. Amanda, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Mike, Keisha, these allegations are disturbing, to say the least. Kimberly Sullivan is accused of locking her stepson in a room for 20 years. That is until last month when he set a fire in that room to escape. Prosecutors say that move saved his life.
Quite frankly, the facts are something out of a horror movie, and that's without exaggeration.
A horror movie played out inside this Waterbury home for decades, according to investigators who say Kimberly Sullivan locked her stepson in a room for 20 years.
He'd been locked in that room since he was 11.
Where was his dad?
He was given 2 cups of water per day.
2 cups of water per day. Where's his dad? Where is his dad?
He'd been locked in there since 4th grade.
On February 17th.
Wait a minute. He was locked in there since 4th grade. Where is his dad? Where's his mom? I just remembered. This is the stepmother. Oh, good, Chantel.
This is when prosecutors say the victim set a fire inside his 8x9 room using hand sanitizer and paper. That's when the fire department responded to the Blake Street home and found the now 31-year-old emaciated.
He lit that fire knowing he could very well die, but he'd been locked in that room for 20 years. And for 20 years, he'd been trying to get out of that room. He'd be let out less than 2 hours a day for chores under the supervision of this defendant. He'd then be locked back in that room. This victim, 31 years old, was 5'9", 68 pounds. He had a body mass index of 11%. Under 13% is life-threatening. He was in the stages of dying.
Sullivan's attorney called the
God.
accusations false and put the blame on her late husband.
He was
Okay, the dad's dead. Hi, watcher of crazy. I shared your link for your live you did last night. I shared the link about JoJo. Yes, 31. He's been locked in there since he was in 4th grade. We just found out the dad died, but I don't know where the mother is, and he was 68 pounds.
was not locked in a room. She did not restrain him in any way. She provided food.
Wait a minute. This man just said she didn't restrain him in any way. She provided food, 2 cups of water a day. 2 cups of water a day. Now, he's 31 years old. Why the fuck couldn't he get out of his room? He had to set a fire, knowing full well, as they just said, he might die. Get out of here with that.
She provided shelter. She is blown away by these allegations. Really? He was the biological father. He's the one that dictated how his son would be raised.
Really?
We think as the evidence comes out, you will see that she's not the villain she's being made out to be.
Now, according to the warrant, DCF was first involved back when the victim was in the 4th grade after he kept complaining that he was always hungry. They made 2 visits to the house, according to the warrant.
Wait a minute. Unclear, though. DCFS was involved when this man was a child. They only made 2 visits to the home. Let me hear this shit again. Hold on.
Complaining that he was always hungry.
Hold on.
They made. Now, according to the warrant, DCF was first involved back when the victim was in the 4th grade after he kept complaining that he was always hungry. They made 2 visits to the house, according to the warrant. It's unclear, though, their involvement after those 2 visits. We did reach out to the agency for comment. As for Sullivan, her bond was set at $300,000. She's due back here in court later this month. Live in Waterbury, Amanda Pitts, NBC Connecticut News. Keisha?
Wait a minute. Hold on, guys.
This is the worst
treatment
of humanity that I've ever witnessed.
Unspeakable abuse. Hold on. Let me stop. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I got you. I have you. Here we go. Because I said it to come up with anything new. Here we go.
This is the worst treatment of humanity that I've ever witnessed.
Unspeakable abuse uncovered in a quiet neighborhood. A man allegedly locked away in a home, starving and alone for decades.
If he would have just banged on the window or something, we could have helped him.
Tonight, questions mount over how the victim slipped through the cracks in the system.
To figure out what happened, why it happened, and to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Tonight, looking for answers after a man says he was held captive by his stepmother for more than 20 years. Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Mark Zinning. This is a case that's making national headlines right now after the 32-year-old victim was rescued. But there are a lot of questions about how all of this happened. Your reporter, Bryant Reed, is live in Waterbury.
Exactly. She didn't provide food, so her lawyer is standing there lying. 2 cups of water a day. There was no reason for a 31-year-old man to weigh 68 pounds. Unless he's dying of cancer or something, no offense, but come on now.
With more on the next phase of this investigation tonight. Bryant.
Mark, the woman arrested in this horrific case is free on bond tonight. However, you'll notice that she hasn't returned to her home here on Blake Street. And if you get a closer look in the windows, you'll notice that they're still boarded up after police say the victim set his room on fire in order to be rescued. Now, tonight, a lawmaker told me what needs to be done moving forward so this never happens again.
The young man's unimaginable suffering over the course of 2 decades is just a reminder of the darkness that does exist in our world.
Arraigned and handcuffed, but released on bail. Kimberly Sullivan afforded a freedom she allegedly never allowed her stepson. which, according to police, is what led him to setting a fire to escape the home.
Information was very guarded.
He is fine.
On what was released and you know, when he was able to see other members of the family and other members of the community.
Waterbury Police Chief Fernando Spagnolo diving into the investigation with plenty of questions still to be answered, despite allegations from the victim saying he was forced to drink toilet water and lived on the verge of starvation.
I believe it.
There were also concerns and complaints 20 years ago from the victim's school and friends. Not only because the victim was pulled out of elementary school by his stepmother, but he was also showing up to school hungry, forced to ask for others' food or eat scraps from the garbage. The victim says DCF made 2 visits back in 2005, once for a welfare check, another because the family wanted to file charges against the school for her.
Now, I'm going to drop a link for the principal. He was a former principal of the school that this young man attended. You guys can go. Hi, Jen. You guys can watch it. It's like 19 minutes long. I'm going to drop it in the chat for you guys so you'll see what he's saying about this whole situation. Hold on. There we go. I just dropped it. So let's finish this.
Harassment. According to DCF, none of the abuse and neglect claims were substantiated, so they got rid of the paperwork after 5 years, per state policy. Republican Senator Jason Perillo is the ranking senator on the Children's Committee, which oversees DCF policies in the legislature, and says a thorough investigation needs to be done.
Understand what the schools did, what they knew, what they shared.
Oh, well, shit.
If
We'll
there
just
are
watch
folks
it
at
together.
DCF who are involved in this, who still work there, those folks have to be talked to. Quite honestly, if there
You
are
need
folks
to,
involved who don't
Chantel.
work there, DCF has an obligation to pursue them and figure out what was done or what could have been done differently.
Kimberly Sullivan's lawyer says any and all allegations
We'll just
they
watch it
vehemently
together.
deny.
Absolutely shocked. Okay? Absolutely appalled by these allegations. Absolutely shocked.
But they released her on bond.
Now, Sullivan, although out on bond, still does have to report to a probation officer. Now, in the meantime, neither Sullivan nor her lawyer have explained exactly how her stepson got into the condition that he
That's
was
what
found
we
in.
want to know.
Meanwhile, Sullivan will return to court on March 26th.
Okay.
Your report
I'll be in
Waterbury
court
tonight,
with
Brian
you. Okay. So let's look at the principal. Hold on. It was coming up next too, and I should have just left it there. The former principal of the school he went to. Let's just take a look at this. And this is coming from ABC Connecticut.
Of the size, I mean, it's absolutely.
This is the principal.
The
Hold
student
on.
in question was a kindergartner, and it was my first year as principal of Barnard Elementary School. And I just remember seeing this kid. He was just so tiny.
What was deleted?
Much smaller than usual 5-year-olds. Maybe.
Wait a minute, Wendy. What was deleted, baby?
Absolutely tiny, and he had no color to his face, and he looked emaciated. He looked like he wasn't eating at all. And as time went on, and again, you're a new principal, so you're kind of getting the ropes of the school. I would walk in the morning, though. Barnard was
exactly
Ghostface.
Ghostface. Where was his family?
1898. It's used for adult ed now. And they had
his dad is now
the kids would come
deceased.
in the morning,
But
and
where's
there was
his
an
mother?
old bathroom, boys' room downstairs, and they had the old type ceramic urinals, which were probably about 4 feet high, bigger than him. And I would walk in there in the morning, and he would be flushing the toilet, drinking the water coming out of the urinal.
Oh my
as
God!
It's raining. I'm going, oh man, there's something wrong with this. And he would tell me he's thirsty. Then I'm thinking, well, maybe he's thirsty. He can't reach the fountain because the water fountain was too high. I don't know if I called the mother at that particular day, but then I would find him in the bathroom almost every morning, opening up his little lunch. He had a plastic lunchbox that kids use, and it was filthy, disgusting, with just old food and crust and everything else.
Oh my
on it.
God!
And he would open it up. This is 8 o'clock in the morning, and he starts shoving all his lunch into his mouth. What the heck you're doing? Oh, I'm hungry. I said, didn't you have breakfast? No. What's going on here? And at this point, I would call his mother, and I'd say, the kid's hungry. He's eating his food in the bathroom, this and that. Didn't get anywhere. He stopped doing that, okay?
Because she probably beat him to
and
death.
The progressives,
Well,
the
not beat
teachers
him
are
to
all
death,
conservatives, kindergarten teachers. What's going on with He's always hungry, blah, blah, blah. As he gets into first grade the next year, when you go to lunch, we're getting reports from other kids that he's stealing their lunch.
Oh, my God.
He's literally taking it while they're eating and eating their lunch. Now you're talking 6-year-olds now. Kids do stuff like that. So it's not that uncommon.
They do?
But he was doing it constantly. So again, like Mr. Principal, I called the mother just to kind of say, hey, what's going on, this and that.
Okay, this is the issue. The same thing happened to this young man here in Airway Heights when he was eating out of the garbage at school. They called, they removed the child, they found out that he was being neglected. So why didn't you, as the principal, you said you called the mother, but if this kept going on, were you following up? The CPS? I mean, come on, something is wrong here.
Oh, I'll take care of it. No, this not. He's eating.
Yeah, she was in here.
And looking back, he
He's
probably got punished when
working
he
and
went home.
listening.
So what I did was probably the worst possible thing for the kid. He wouldn't be stealing the food as much, but he was constantly hungry. These teachers, he had the teachers up to 4th grade. They were constantly bringing food in for the kid, and he was just ravenous, devouring it all the time.
Something is wrong that you have to do this for a child.
2 biological
And DCFS didn't do anything.
To the mother. And the mother would order pizza, and he wouldn't get any of the pizza. And this kind of stuff kind of broke your heart. And over the years, from kindergarten to 4th grade, between myself, the school nurse, the parent liaison, the teachers, called DCF numerous times. If I'm saying 20, that's probably being conservative. And whether they investigate, you do the paperwork, you do the phone call, they do the investigation, they come back, we went to the house and nothing, this and that. You really weren't getting anywhere going through that agency. After 4th grade, he never went to 5th grade. And I'm not quite sure if he finished his 4th grade
Oh
at
my
Barnard
God.
School, but I definitely know he didn't show up for 5th grade. It was a small neighborhood school. It was maybe 250 kids. You know all the kids, you know the neighborhood, this and that. And so I would start asking the kids, hey, you see this and that? And I knew the kids who lived right next door. And I would ask them, and they would tell me, oh, yeah, we see him. He's in the window of the house waving out the window. I said, well, does he ever come out and play? Do you ever see him in the yard? No, we never see him in the yard. He never plays. He never comes out. I said, well,
Yes, he's a mandated reporter.
He's in the window for a little while, and then we see him the next day or the next day. So obviously, I'm kind of concerned about that. I called the police.
Okay, hold on.
At least 2 or 3
Let me
times.
just stop. Okay. Wendy, no one is deleting your comments. I don't even see where your comments were held for review. So something's going on with YouTube. Yesterday, Bambi said that she was blocked in my chat, which she wasn't. I went back and looked. I can see anytime somebody is timed out. Matter of fact, any mod in the chat can see if a comment has been removed or is held for review. I'm looking at it and I don't see it. So I have no idea what's going on. But I know Bambi told me yesterday she was blocked in my chat. She wasn't. She wasn't even timed out in my chat. So the chat has disconnected twice. It's a YouTube thing. There's a glitch going on with YouTube right now.
Could be more for wellness checks.
But I just wanted
And
to
I
address
gave
that.
Statements in
So I'm
terms of
sorry,
there's
Wendy.
something wrong. This kid, he's not coming to school. There's no reports of him going to school. Kids see him in the window. What's going on? I don't remember the police literally ever
And
coming
thank
to
you,
the school to
Jen.
follow up on it, but I remember them saying, yeah, they went to the house, they saw the kid, they talked to the mother, everything's fine. And I would respond by saying, how is everything fine? He's not going to school. I mean, I specifically remember the police telling me, well, the mother said she's enrolling him in Wolcott schools.
Oh my God.
And I remember actually contacting Wolcott schools. There's only 2 elementary schools there, explaining who I was. We're looking for this kid. What our concerns was, there was no record of him going to Wolcott school. The 2 sisters went to, I want to say, St. Margaret's
So
School,
there's 2
which is
sisters?
up off Highland Avenue, somewhere up there. I don't know if it's still in business, whatever. The 2 sisters, the twin sisters went there.
Twin sisters.
So we never had any communication with the 2 sisters, but they obviously went to a private parochial school.
Wait a
It was pretty
minute.
nice school in Waterbury, and he was at the public school.
Wait a
So
minute.
we basically,
He's got
after
twin sisters.
4th grade,
And he's being held in a. Where are these sisters? Why didn't. Oh my God.
lost the contact other than me calling. And I think myself with the parent liaison
Hi,
claims we went to the house
Jody.
when he was in 5th grade. It's more than likely we did. And I
How
don't
are
think
you,
anybody
sweetie?
ever answered the door. I remember walking around the house looking. And even farther past, that had to be 2004, 2005. And after that, I was telling you about the after-school programs I do.
I really
One of
didn't
the programs
mean
at the
to
time
stay
I was
on
doing
this
was
long,
at
but
Chase
shit.
Park House, which is on right on the street, the main street going on Sunnyside Avenue. And we'd finish the program.
Yeah, Wendy,
at Chase
nobody
Park
is
House,
taking
and I would just
your
drive across the
comments
street,
out,
and I would
sweetie.
look to see if I could. I said, "That's the house." I would tell my wife the story. I said, "That's where he lived. I don't know where this kid is, but I'm going to tell you right now. We're going to see the story on Dateline sometime, without question."
And there it is.
That was not just my thought. It was everyone in the school who had any kind of contact with the school at all. It was inevitable that this kid, you can't just drop a 10-year-old off the face of the earth and he never shows up
Hi,
again.
Savage.
And it's like no one cared.
Savage, I did a story this morning. You're going to have, I think I have the chapter set. It's called the Arkansas 21. I think you would be really interested in that story.
No one cared enough to really follow up on it, other than me or somebody going up there and busting the door.
And we don't know
pulling
if
the
you're
kid
doing
out
a
by his
garage
ear
live this
and saying,
weekend or
"What the
not?"
heck's going on here?" Which I
But
came
I'm
to
gonna
the
get
point of
drunk
wanting
with
to
you.
do that sometimes, and didn't, obviously. But everyone really was concerned with this child since he was 5 years old. You knew something was wrong. It was grossly
So they knew.
wrong.
How does that work that the school is saying this child isn't in school? How is it possible?
Yes, it was required,
like,
Wendy.
He was never accounted for. It's just, that blows my mind.
I think it blows everybody's mind. And whether it was the police who went to the house, and I noticed on the article that it did mention the last report, there were 2 reports of wellness checks in 2004, 2005. They had to be the ones I made because that's when we left the school from 4th grade to 5th grade. He never showed up.
So he made the reports, and then, hi, Michelle. He made the reports, and they're only allowed to hold these records for 5 years, and then the records are destroyed. So he is lost in the system. Well, there is no system because he's no longer in the system. This case is nuts, Jody. Very nuts.
And I knew something was amiss when he didn't show up at the other schools or the parochial school that the sisters were at, and it kind of fell off the face of the earth. That was it. I mean, how, you kind of go on in your life, okay, maybe I'm missing something, maybe he moved, maybe he went with another. That was an excuse the mother did use once.
Okay.
She was moving with a relative, whether it was Wolcott or someone else, Florida. I kind of remember a story like that, never verified. So that's where it ended up. Until today, when I'm working in the after-school program in Waterbury, and my phone starts blowing up with messages like, "What's going on?" I never pick up my phone. I just happen to pick it up, and it's all these teachers contacting me saying, "Do you believe this? We all knew this."
Oh, guys, we have a new feature right now. So, hold on.
Talking to that one and saying, "Oh yeah."
Hold on. We have a new
This
feature.
is not a surprise to
hold on.
anybody. Everybody knew.
Let me show you
one
something.
day that either the kid was going to show up dead, or he was going to show up in a situation like the kids out in California that 8 children live in with the locked up in the house.
No, if I do it right now,
it was something.
it's going to be a
crazy like
minute.
that.
And learning that.
So hold on. I'm going to do it after he finished talking. I'm going to show you guys something.
The situation he was in. I mean, what do you make of that, knowing the child yourself? I mean, not a child now.
Exactly,
I'm
Snuggle.
actually proud of him that he was willing to die to get out of that situation. And the same feeling myself and everybody that was involved with him in the school were sick because it had to come to that. Because what else could we collectively as a school community do to kind of cry out to say, this kid needs help, somebody needs to go in there and find this kid and do something. And that's the extreme. He's now a man. He's a man. He's 67 pounds according to the thing. Still
68.
starving to death. for how many years for somebody to live like that when you know that that was going on and you couldn't do anything about it?
That many years ago.
Oh, wait a minute. Savage. Karen Reed. That's a documentary. You need to watch it. And also, I don't think Karen Reed, after watching that, I don't think she killed that guy. I think there was other police officers involved that jumped him when he came in that house and they K'd him. Oh my God. Thank you, Christoph.
As someone,
Wait a minute. You
what it
gifted
seems
a
like one of the only
membership
people
and
that-
you
if you were on the
received the
last wellness
membership.
check, one of the only last people that seems to have
That is too
tried to make that
funny.
connection and reach out. Is there anything you want him to know? Anything
You gifted a membership and you
I hope he
received the
remembers us. I mean, it was
membership.
a long time
That
ago.
shit
But
is
I
funny.
hope the student remembers
Good morning,
the
Harlow.
staff at Barnard School and how much they really loved him and tried to help him the much they could.
Harlow, Pam and Love Live Strong is willing to talk with you backstage if you're up to it.
And sorry we couldn't do more.
You can set it up
because
on your channel or their channel
went
and
through
you
more
guys
than
can
any
go
of us ever
backstage
will
and
go
talk.
through in our lives. And I'm glad you're out of there and getting, hopefully, the help that you need, that you deserve. He was a good kid. The kid really never caused any other than taking people's food, but there was a reason for that. He was really a good kid. He wasn't a malicious kid. He wasn't a troublemaker. He
I'm not
was a
laughing at
decent
this.
student,
That's too funny.
considering everything he went through.
Yeah, wow. I mean, just such a profound story. And it's really crazy to me just hearing this. How many attempts to...
Can someone drop Harlow's channel for me, please?
I mean, you're the principal of the school. Who knows better than you that this kid is not showing up? I mean...
You really
that
can't
feels
hear
like
what
it's a
she's
frustrating
saying.
thing to even, like, I can't even comprehend how you felt. Like, are you... I'm not making this up.
Y'all heard Sarah. Get those goddamn lights up. Thank you.
It's kind of insane that just to hear, like, what were you sort of feeling as an administrator? You know, you have responsibility to make these calls. You're making these calls. You went to the house. I mean, were you kind of like, what else can I do?
Right. Well,
yeah, he went to the house.
It wasn't just me. It was the school nurse over and over again making calls to the
Hi,
mother,
Mugsy.
trying to get doctors involved.
Mugsy, the thing that you asked me about the Arkansas 69 that happened on March 5th, 1959, I showed it this morning. So if you get a chance, go back and watch it. It's like an hour and 14 minutes.
With it, because we knew this kid was not healthy, not getting anywhere. It was the parent liaison. It was the teachers. I could remember almost every teacher from kindergarten, first, second, third grade being in my office with me calling DCF together. So, and it wasn't just once a year.
So they did their part.
It was numerous times a year. And even after he left the school, we were still calling. We were still concerned about it, which brings me to the point was by the time he was going to fifth grade. It was probably around 2005, 2006. The laws are different in school attendance. You could just simply withdraw your child from school, and you didn't even have to make a plan for homeschooling. It was a very lax system. And a lot of parents would just say, oh, I'm homeschooling them, and that was it. And
no
at one
follow-up.
point, the parents had to provide a portfolio to the principal. Here's what they're doing. Very few ever did it. And it was never... mandated in terms of they never pressed the case on it.
Oh,
Where is
okay.
It? So, you know.
Maybe if it was today,
yeah,
and this was a 6-year-old, this wouldn't be able to happen. Is that
No.
kind of the thinking?
If DCF's involved, anything's possible. And I'm giving this experience with this young student, but in my 35 years, 14 as an administrator,
I'll go back and like
DCF
my video.
dropped the ball 99%
I always do it
of
after
the
the
time.
fact.
It's just the reality of the agency. I know every year they say they're changing, they're going to make corrections. I don't believe
Where's
it.
Just Beat 'em?
It's just, and this is a prime example. This is an absolute. I don't know how far they got involved. Once the kid got out of the system, there's probably no record of him. I'm interested to see.
No, there's no record of him.
When they do an investigation, what the DCF records, if they could find the records of the number.
They
of
don't have
times
the
that they
records.
called, for not just wellness checks, for concerns about.
They destroy the records after 5 years. And that's something I did not know. I did not know they destroy records according to their state rules. They destroy records after 5 years.
So you would say between you and your other teachers, dozens of times.
Easy. Absolutely easy. Wow. And just calling the mother. She'd always had a song and dance. There was a typical, and when you start seeing these other stories of these tragics where kids are, prisoners are in their own house, it's so similar to the story you hear. Oh, they're fine. I took care of them. They had all the food they needed. The same song and dance I just read in the newspaper from the mother. It's frightening.
And going forward, what's your hope for this student who, I can't emphasize enough that you were probably one of the only people that knew. I mean, I doubt he socialized other than school. Like, you knew him. Like, I just can't get and not many people did. It's just really.
A lot of the kids in the neighborhood knew him. I mean, if you go, well, they're not kids anymore. No. They're grown adults. He's 35. Yeah. So I don't even know how many.
He's not 35. He's 31.
Are still living in that neighborhood. Though it's a pretty stable neighborhood.
32.
One generation after another is still living there.
Yesterday they said 32. Today they say 31. He's not 35.
They give their lunch to him when they knew he was really, really hungry, and they were all friendly with him. He wasn't like he didn't have any friends. It was, So what's my hope? He's a man now. Is the harm irreparable at this point? I mean, mentally, how could you survive something like that? He obviously did, and he went to the extreme what he did to try to get out. So I just pray and wish him the best, whatever his life could be after this.
It's such an act of, it must have been so scary, but it feels like a real act of bravery from him. I mean, I can't imagine what that felt like. And it's really sad for me to think about if this is all true.
No more Justin Trudeau?
Crazy.
Yeah.
With his sexy self.
I mean, this
is Mark good looking?
30 years? Maybe?
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
years,
It's 30, 2002, 2025. We're talking 23 years. Yeah.
23 years. So 23 years, you've been, basically, this has been on your mind. And now, today, he's finally like...
He's free.
Free. Like, you must be elated.
Bittersweet. It's angry more than anything else. And I think that's the same feeling I'm getting from all my colleagues that I worked with. It's more anger because you knew
I can understand that.
You knew it. We reported it. Not a damn thing was done.
Oh, he's close to 60.
That's the tragedy.
Okay, let me take a look at Mark Carney.
Yeah,
Hold
you're
on.
elated because the kid's finally free. He's not a kid. He's a man. He's a little 67-pound man. Just try to imagine that. How could you even imagine that? So he has a lot of healing to do.
Oh, he's not bad
He
looking.
can get the help that he needs.
He's the new prime minister.
A rush of emotions
Okay.
must have been coming over you then, today.
Everything.
Yeah.
As I said before, when I'm in the classroom today doing this lesson and my phone's pinging, and I go
Oh my
over
God,
and I
he's
look and I
not
just see
bad
the
looking.
headline. They say, "Tom, you remember this kid?"
He looks good,
And
Chantel.
I just screamed. I'm in the middle of a group
Dapper.
of 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders doing a lesson, and I screamed. And they all looked at me like, "What's going on?" I said, "Oh, no, there's some information." I shared it with the teacher that was in the classroom with me.
He's not a bad looking guy.
But, they knew
He's
from my
59 years
reaction,
old. His birthday is
viscerally
next
that
week.
Something hit this guy really hard, and it did. It was.
Did you ever think you would see the culmination of this student's story?
I honestly expect them to find them dead.
Oh my damn! He expected to find that young man dead.
And so did everybody else. You don't disappear off the face of the earth at 10 years old.
Hi, Bonero.
The school was 5th grade the last elementary year.
Yeah, it was kindergarten to 5th grade
Okay,
at
so
the time.
we're going to show up to 5th grade.
Good morning. Thank you for the flowers.
Right. But
Thank
there was no rep. I would
you.
check, with the middle school. The feeder middle school is Westside Middle School. No thing. None of the Waterbury schools had him as registered. As a
No,
student.
he's no Trudeau, but he's
wasn't
not bad.
homeschooled. I think the story the mom gave me, she's homeschooling him. I think that's the story she gave to the police. And that was enough to say, okay, the mom said he's okay. He's standing next to me. He's okay. He looks okay. But I mean...
But how does he look okay if you said the child was always starving? And when they found him, he's 68 pounds. Who would say a child looks okay?
Ray Charles could tell you he's not okay. I mean, that's how bad.
Would y'all leave Ray Charles alone? Let that man rest in peace. He's not the only blind person we know.
Not trying to sound biased, but I don't know how
Jesus.
you could look at a child.
Hi,
He wasn't
Deborah.
30 pounds as a 4th grader.
He's no
wasn't 30
Dion
pounds.
Cole.
I'm confused.
Dion is in the hospital.
Well, thank you so much. Anything else you're looking at?
No, but I'll probably after you leave, I'll probably think
he does look
20 other
distinguished.
episodes that kind of happened over the course of it. I did get in touch with his third grade teachers, and I said, if you want me to share your name, you want to give me information, they don't mind. Even the school nurse, who was really actively involved in
this is sad.
You know, the medical issues with him, the DCF issues with him.
Would you like to see him again?
That's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know. I probably it wouldn't be good. It just wouldn't be good to see him like that. And,
it'd be hard.
You know,
it's okay. Break the silence.
Like you could have done, and everyone feels that way that was involved with him. What more could we have done? What could we have done to prevent it? But
well, you know. Oh, sorry.
You guys did everything that I can hear of.
Oh, well, question. That was the scream in the classroom today. That was the scream. Like, oh my, I knew it. I knew it.
That is sad.
Good morning, everyone. You guys all ready?
Okay, we're not going through this again.
So, we're here to talk about the crime that just occurred that everyone's talking about, and I just want to say that it's truly a horrifying and it's beyond comprehension what occurred here. The young man's unimaginable suffering over the course of 2 decades is just a reminder of the darkness that does exist in our world. Our hearts and our prayers go out to him. We're committed to supporting him in every way possible as he begins to heal from this unimaginable trauma that he suffered.
What about his sisters?
Want to this morning, though, acknowledge and extend my deepest gratitude to Chief Fred Spagnola and the Waterbury Police Department for their unwavering dedication and relentless investigative efforts, as well as to Waterbury State's Attorney Maureen Platt and her office for their vital role in this case. Their tireless work has led to an arrest, but it's crucial to remember that this investigation is far from over, and there's a lot more work to be done. Unanswered questions remain.
Okay. This is a long press conference. Let me drop this in here. You guys can watch it. It's just sad. I want to know, where are his sisters? I haven't seen where either one of them has spoken or said anything. Or were they that afraid of the stepmother? Where is the mother? The father is now deceased. She held this young man. Hi, damn it, Mandy. They all need to be prosecuted. He had twins. Oh my God. Thank you. Break the silence. Thank you. Thank you so much. They all need to be prosecuted. Where's his mother? They said he had twin sisters in another school. They went to an all-girls school. They left that young man with this psycho woman. That principal said that he thought that they were going to find this young man deceased. What is wrong? How do we not have any type of humanity for people? This principal and his colleagues did everything they could have done. And if you go lay eyes on this child, when they're telling you he's drinking water out the toilet, stealing people's lunches, why didn't you remove that child from that home? Just because the other two looks okay doesn't mean that young man was being treated the same way. And now she's saying that the father set the rules. Daddy's dead. Daddy's dead. You were giving him 2 cups of water a day. And you're saying, and your lawyer, oh, I got to find him again. I'm going to have to go find his name. Your lawyer said you provided food. What food did you provide that a 31 or 32-year-old man is at 68 fucking pounds and he stands 5'9"? What food? What food did you provide? That he was emaciated. And they let you out on bond. Girl. Where the mother who left her 3 kids in the home in Detroit in filth is sitting in jail with a $250 million bond. Really? At least she did bring food. Be it pizzas, she did do that. Check your DMs. Hold on. Cracking jokes in Africa. Hold on. Let me go check my DMs. Dion was just in the hospital. He was just in the hospital. Okay, I'll check it out. I know when he lost his mother, he was besides himself. But I'm sitting there going, where are your sisters? So you mean to tell me that your dad was an only child? Was your dad an only child? What about your neighbors? Didn't they say, hey, we haven't seen him in years? The one neighbor said all he had to do was to knock on a window. That's the same thing they said about these 3 kids in Detroit. That the young man would always wave and tell the neighbor he likes his car. How many more people are we going to find like this? 2 years ago, I discussed a young woman in Louisiana who melted into the fucking couch. I'm not showing that picture again. She was covered in feces while her parents went off to party at a Christmas party and take vacations. Here's your hall pass. I got it. I'm gonna leave Dion alone, okay? I won't go at, but he's fine now. But I'll leave Dion alone, okay? But how many more people do we have to discover like this? This young woman had muscle thing. She melted into a sofa. Melted into a sofa. Yeah, I can't show that, no, because it made me gag. But I think sometimes we just need to be reminded of what disgusting and how disgusting people can be. They are disgusting. This is their own child. And she melted away in a sofa, covered in feces. They were convicted. They were convicted like they should have been. Then we have a 2-year-old boy that was left outside to play, wandered off. He's now deceased. That's neglect. I don't care how you cut it. I know the family is suffering. It's neglect. It's child endangerment. This is a 2-year-old child that you left alone outside to play. I just can't, people. I can't. And I keep looking at these stories, and some of them are so disgusting, I won't even show them to you because it's bad. It's bad. You have a little boy that's still fighting for his life. 10 years old. You have a 3-year-old that was dropped off at a hospital on the concrete. Really? Is that what we do? If you don't want your kids, bring them to the fire stations. If you don't want your kids, hey, take them to CPS. Say, hey, I can't deal with this right now. Thinking about Lisa and this bullshit. She's talking about she's going to get her son back. Bitch, you can't take care of yourself. You're online every day begging for cigarette money. You have no home. What are you going to do to take care of this child? Here's the picture. Let me just show you this young girl. She melted into the sofa. Melted. Oh, there you go. She melted into the sofa. That's how they found her. That's how they found her. Melted into the sofa. That's how they found her. I still keep that picture. Melted into the sofa, covered in feces. Girl, Channing Tatum. Those are some, I see some disgusting things sometimes. I will. Chantel, why don't you drop the link in the chat You have a rent. Just drop the link. Okay. Everybody has a hall pass. Who's your hall pass? It is Break the Silence. It is. That's why if you do start your channel, I covered a couple of human trafficking stories out of Houston, and there's a lot of them. Spokane is a hub for trafficking as well. I'll be more than happy to promote your channel. Chantel, drop the link for that commentary. But today I'm going to tell you what I'm going to have today. I've been sitting here thinking what I want to eat. I want to make me some succotash. I will do my succotash today. I think I'm going to go to the meat market and I'm going to pick up some turkey wings, some young baby turkey wings. I'm going to bake those turkey wings and I'm going to have me a pot of jasmine rice and succotash. Succotash is going to be okra, corn, baby lima beans, and just sometimes I might put carrots in it, but that's what I'm going to make for me today. I want to eat and I'm in the mood to cook. My God damn it, Mandy, I saw Frauditor's response to Lisa. I talked about that earlier. Lisa got called out on her lies. I looked at that email and I can see it was a cut and paste. She never changed the time. The date is after, it's before. She's just a liar. Oh yeah, in Tucson too. Lisa is a liar. Lady Red did also a nice video on that as well. Roman Reigns. My hall pass is the guy on Bridgerton. Jean, whatever his damn name is. That's gonna be my pass forever. I don't give a shit. He can get it. Even Mufasa. Mufasa can get it. Deborah, I'm in a mood to cook. That email was a Kim. Yes, it was. It's a Kim special. She never had court the other day. She never had court. Not at all. You're live begging you said your court was at 1:15. At 12:45, you're begging for pants. Oh, I love Omar Hartwick. Oh, savage. I love Omar Hartwick too. Jesus Christ. Who? Idris Elba. I just ran across the picture of Idris Elba. I'm not going to put it up, ladies, because I don't want you to have a heart attack. But Idris Elba, Jesus Christ. Yes. She lied about that. Lied. You're begging online at 12:45. You got to take a bus. Now, the day before, she said she was going to get a bus pass downtown while she was there. All of a sudden, she miraculously has a bus pass. She hasn't been downtown yet, okay? But she needs clothes to go to court because she has nothing to wear. But you're going to get your son back. Get the fuck out of here. You're not getting your son back. Your parents are being evicted on the 18th. They have court to get the fuck out of that house. Where you going then? Now you're going to go to rehab. You're talking about you had clean. Oh, Lenny Kravitz. Yes. Yes, he can get it too. He can get it too. So not Lenny Kravitz. Damn. I got that picture in my head. Now stop. Now. And then court's at 1:15. You're begging at 12:45 your time. And you come back live at 1:55 begging. Girl, no, 1:45. What court did you go to? How did you get a bus that quick? When you yourself said that it was at 1:15 and you will probably be sitting there to 3 o'clock. No, bitch, you had no court. Stop lying to people. And this Crystal woman who's giving her money, you need to be locked the fuck up. I might have a Jasmine Crockett? Really? The congresswoman or the representative, Jasmine Crockett. Okay. Yes. And even when Jay was taken, the day Jace was taken from her, she was on a live. It was no big deal to her. She came on a live. And then after he's removed, she's still begging. You don't care but nobody but yourself. Nobody but yourself. So anything you get, I keep saying, is it the jail or a body bag? I see no improvement. You're upset because you had 15 months. Lisa, in those 15 months, in the last 10 months, you've done nothing. I said this the other day. She did nothing, and I heard frauditors say it again. You haven't done one single thing that you were supposed to do. Do you think 5 months, the last 5 months, is going to make a difference? You have lost every one of your children. She keeps saying that's not true. She keeps saying it's not true. Well, let me show you again, Lisa. I'm going to show you again how, yes, you have lost your other 3 kids. You lost custody of your other 3 kids. Okay? Oh, you love Viola Davis too? Oh, I miss Scandal, girl. I miss Scandal. So let's go back and look. So you lost custody of Nicole, of Nikki, as you call her. You lost physical custody. It went to your mother and your father. Okay? You lost custody of Nikki. Nikki is the second one. Let's see. You lost custody of Abby in 2018. Abby went to Jessica. Okay? Abby went to Jessica. Lost custody of Abby. You said you gave Lil Cole to his grandmother because it was a nicer school. Oh, look. When was this? This was 2021. 2021. You lost custody of Cole Jr. That's 3. The 18th is going to be 4. You lost custody of your children. Stop lying. Stop. They're not playing by her rules. Come the 18th, she won't have custody. And soon, and as soon as that paperwork hits, I'm going to pull that too. She's telling people that you don't have, yes, you can look on the docket for family court. Unless the child has been molested or whatever, you can look on the docket and see if someone's name is on the docket. Lisa, stop lying to people. All for the love of her crack. Her lips, I pointed it out every time I show her. It's crack from the pipe. You can see the black on her gums and on her teeth. You see the eggs in her hair. You see her black fingernails. You see her black fingers. And this girl wants you to believe that she's not using. Also, she says the other day, 2 months ago, she wasn't getting any more K-pens. They don't give her any more K-pens. 3 days ago, she said she took a K-pen. So was that her mother's K-pens or was it hers? Yep, there you go. You can look. And then she's saying that everybody puts her life on TikTok. No, you did that. There was a call between you, Ronnie, when you're saying you saw how easy it was for people to get money on TikTok. So you decided to do it. You were on Facebook. They kicked you off of Facebook. You tried IG. You got kicked off of IG. And now you're on TikTok begging. You have an account set up on Lemon 8 to go there next. Then you tried to go on Patreon. Nobody's going to pay on, people going to pay to go on Patreon to see you beg them for money when they're already paying a subscription to go and watch you when you have no fucking content. I don't understand how this WTF woman is over there in that chat supporting this bullshit. I don't understand that. I don't. You can make a parody of Lisa without having to be in her chat supporting her. The only thing she wants to do is build her fucking page on TikTok. She didn't come up clean. She never came up clean. Ever came up clean. She's full of shit. This is crazy. Oh, damn. I got to watch Grumpy's video. This is crazy. It's crazy. I don't understand it. Bye, Jen. Have a good one. Yes, WTF is over there. I'm going, I said, when I heard, first I thought it was someone different. And then when she said that WTF, she gave her permission to do these videos of her. I said, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, she's over there. Yep, WTF is over there supporting this bullshit. Just like Mandy, who doesn't talk about the fact that Lisa is a racist piece of trash. And in that email the other day, she said the R word again. But no one said anything about that. No one said anything about it. No one. Yep, she's not going to get monetized on YouTube. And I'm going to go through her videos. And this is how nasty I am. Every video where she's using the C-U-N-T word or she's going off on people, I'm going to put in harassment. I will put that in there. When she goes on YouTube and if she puts Frodo the Reaper's husband up there, which I don't give a flying fuck about that either, that's doxing. I will flag that video. She's trash. She looks like trash. She talks like trash. She smells like trash. That's what she is. But when I heard WTF, when she said that, I'm like, wait a minute. So I went, look, I was like, wait a minute. I will not be following her, will not be sharing any more of her videos at all. Not at all. Sometimes. We'll see, Chantel. We'll see. But anyway, I'm going to go. I need to run to the meat market. It's Friday. It's Friday. I don't know what everybody else is cooking, but I'm serious. I am making me some succotash. I have fresh Gulf shrimp. I'm going to put those in there. I need to go get my my turkey wings, my baby turkey wings. And I'm just going to cook and enjoy my Friday and listen to see what's going on. I saw your email, your DM, Muggsy. I'm going to watch what Grumpy had to say about Lil Wee Willie. I will watch that. So, oh, you got lasagna for dinner. Are you making it, Chantel? Exactly. You're so right, Muggsy. But that's what I want to eat. Because yesterday I fried myself some fish. And I forgot it wasn't Friday. But I still have some fish in. Oh, I can't have turkey wings today. So I'm going to fry the other 2 pieces of fish I have. But I can have seafood. So I'm doing good. I'm making a succotash. I'm going to fry the other 2 pieces of fish I have. And then, because it's Lent, I cannot eat meat. Oh my God, Lent started. I can't eat meat. Damn it, Mandy, you're not Catholic. You can't eat meat on Fridays. I know they say they change it, but that's the way I was raised. No meat on Fridays. Ooh. Oh, you had that marinating. It was just, look, it's marinating overnight. You're barbecuing it. We're supposed to have snow flurries today and rain. I don't know. We're supposed to have it yesterday too, so I don't know if we're going to get it. You're barbecuing. Ugh. That's one thing I miss about being in Houston is barbecuing outside. I miss my brother. Shit, I barbecue better than my brother. What my brother he can throw down, but I barbecue as well. I miss that. And I don't do it on a gas grill. I do it on a pit. Yeah, it's Lent. Yeah, we can't eat meat. Well, I know they said they changed it, but the Pope was supposed to be in critical condition too. And I didn't go back to find out what was going on with him because they haven't been doing any vigils. Christoph, are you Catholic? Are you Catholic? Can't be eating pizza, no meat. You probably not Catholic, but yeah, so I can't have turkey. So I'll do turkey tomorrow or Sunday. Yeah, I can't do turkey. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. It just dawned on me. It's Lent. We're in the middle of Lent. Easter is in April this year. And I remember in Easter weekend and when I lived in Teaneck, it would snow. That would be the last snow we would have in Teaneck, New Jersey. It was Easter weekend. Oh, cheese pizza. Okay. Sure, damn it, Mandy. Okay, guys. I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if anybody else is live to tell you guys who's live in case you might want to go check them out. But I do want, Lori Vallow. I will be discussing Lori Vallow as well. Let's see. Charlie is live. Let me drop Charlie's link. Hold on. Let me drop Charlie. I'm going to drop Charlie's link for you guys. Go over and check out Charlie. Hold on. Let me drop her link. She's live. I'm getting out of here. And make sure when you go over there, you say, hi, Heidi sent me. I love you guys. Have a great day. And I would definitely thank you for the cash outs and the super chats. I really, really appreciate it. I will see you guys later on. Bye.